My
What-
tubes ruptured. My tube ruptured now.
What?
Yeah, I didn't know I was pregnant. Oh no! I knew I was pregnant.
Endometriosis or whatever it is.
What do you call that?
Okay,
Nothing-
we're gonna
I
be
have a
on
lot of
live,
that.
okay? You cool with that?
Oh,
All right.
topic.
Oh, it's not big.
Yeah.
So we were like celebrating because I was like, "Ooh,
Facebook Live.
Hi everyone!" Just telling my pregnancy story.
Right.
Yeah, so
Make
like,
sure you know.
I was a week into the pregnancy. We were so excited because it was our first, and most couples would like keep it for the first trimester.
Mm-mm.
Is that right, diba?
Yeah.
We were announcing it, like we called
Yeah.
everyone, and then
Yeah.
I lost them.
And yeah. So what's interesting is we work with groups that will actually go in and harvest the
Endometriosis.
embryo
Oh,
and use it for stem cell therapy.
no way.
So even that can be salvaged. When they had to do surgery to remove the inflamed embryo,
Well,
right?
And they took out the tube already. 'cause
Oh,
it
the whole
ruptured.
tube?
Yeah, the whole tube. But I still have my ovaries, so I think
Yeah.
I'm still producing eggs. Interesting, guys.
Yeah.
Nangingitlog pa,
That
lola
is-
mo.
Oh,
I think, yeah. Kasi the eggs come from the ovary.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's the tubes where it
Yeah.
goes to the tubes and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
the uterus.
My tubes have problems.
You too? Parado din?
guess.
I love YouTube. We talking about YouTube or?
No, tubes.
Oh, I know.
Her tubes.
Our tubes have problems. My ovaries are fine. My tubes are
Yeah,
problematic.
my ovaries are still there. Yeah, so.
You should get a bone density scan. You can get a
I've never
DEXA
tried
scan.
that.
They could look at your
I'm
spine
scared.
too.
I
You know,
am
he was
scared.
showing this machine that basically takes a picture of your face and it will count how many pores you
Yeah.
have on your face. And how many of them are large pores and small pores.
Yeah. Did you get to do it while you were there?
No, I didn't.
Mm.
Yeah.
You should have done it.
Next time.
He was doing a demo, so I didn't know how much to take advantage
Is
of.
it? Yeah. Oh my gosh, a bone density? That's
That's different. So a DEXA scan, it uses X-ray and it will scan your whole body. They can tell you how much lean body mass you have, which is like your muscle. They can tell you your bone density. You should really do that.
really. Where is that? Like in some clinic? Where do
Yeah.
we get it?
Yeah.
Hospitals?
They have me a
I haven't
DEXA
even
scan.
done my MRI.
Yeah.
Because I'm claustrophobic.
Yes.
I know.
That'd be sleepy.
Those are not that fun.
I know.
Just put on music and
No, I tried that. They even had to put me to sleep, and I was still moving in my sleep.
Wow.
Yeah.
One of the ways to do it is you just close your eyes before and you just tell yourself, I'm never going to open my eyes, and then you never know where you are. That's what I do.
Did
Oh,
you get
finally, a chatter. Hey, Joan. All right.
in? Mama, did you get into the Sigma?
No, because I don't have another email. They were asking. Gmail doesn't work.
No, it should work.
Oh, look, I showed you the thing. Oh, diba? It says hold on. It said, please enter a different email address. This form does not accept.
Is this on
addresses
now?
from
Is this mic on?
No.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Oh.
No, let me find out. Let me
Okay.
find out.
Because phone
We're
ko kasi
gonna talk
ginawa,
in
maybe
free.
on the
Okay.
laptop.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Try
Okay,
it,
I'll
yeah.
try it later. Okay. Yeah. So Utah. Are you Mormon?
I grew up Mormon, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I
What do
took
you
a-
knew right away?
I took a law of chastity and
Oh.
kept that for quite a long time.
So what's your religious? Are you still a Mormon?
No.
Okay.
I did a Mormon mission in Taiwan. I speak Mandarin Chinese and was there for
Whoa.
2 years. And
Okay. Are you agnostic now? Christian?
I mean, it's a
Atheist?
long story,
Yeah.
but yeah, we need another segment on religion. I'm actually I took like 8 years of religious institute, so I have like a PhD in religious studies.
No way!
Yeah.
those, I heard they're expensive. They're not cheap.
Well, this was through the church organization, so I started in 9th grade of junior high, and then I did it all the way through high school, and I did it 4 years of college.
So are you like Jeopardy level Bible?
No. I can't quote the Bible, even though I brought a Bible verse to share with everyone.
Wow.
I brought a Bible verse because
No
there's a lot of
way.
good Catholics.
Really?
It's about sex. It's a
Oh,
verse about sex.
okay. What? What am I gonna do? I want to go home. I can't even book a Grab anyway. I don't want to drive.
I
I'm gonna leave
know.
my
I
car
barely
downstairs.
got one. I'm coming here
Where do you stay?
in BGC.
Oh God, yeah, on a Friday it's hard.
Yeah.
I never like to
I
do
don't,
BGC.
I don't leave in the sun.
I
Right?
could probably walk home quicker. It's not even that far. BGC is not that far from
Oh
here.
yeah, with the bridge.
Yeah.
Where, are you
Can I
up,
walk?
down, or ano?
Forbes-town.
Forbes
up
down.
there.
Oh,
Isn't it
so sa kabilang side lang, like maybe like 4 kilometers.
Yeah.
It's a good walk. Wow.
I do
So
like.
if we're live,
Yeah, we are.
are people like saying hi to us or something?
Joan said hi, but I don't know if this is
Hi,
on. If they can hear
Joanne.
us. No.
They're
Oh.
still here somewhere.
No,
Oh.
she's live on her laptop.
Yes.
Hi,
Oh.
Joanne. Anong kwentong lube mo?
Are
Are we really talking about lube?
We are, because it's Heels and Heartbeats Day.
Oh, what's that?
We're talking about lube though. So yeah, because it's Heels and Heartbeats Day.
Yeah.
Because okay, so we were talking about stem cells and regenerative research, and then off air, Chris was like, "How come the Philippines doesn't export virgin coconut oil
Yeah.
and other products that we have that's in abundance, right?"
Yeah.
And then basically mentioned, well, don't you know that even virgin coconut oil is actually a better lube than the ones you buy at the store because
Oh,
it's natural.
no way!
And I was like, what? Wait,
You
okay.
didn't know that? How do Filipinos not know that? It's like this one of the best coconut capitals of the world. There's a
That's
coconut.
That's why he was saying. I was like, you should be
I
on
went to the Coconut Congress in QC, and they had
Wow.
lectures up there. It was incredible. Yeah,
Okay, I didn't even know they have coconut lube now. Then that's.
they don't. It's just coconut oil. You can use it for,
Does it have to be virgin coconut or extra virgin?
That's what we're gonna talk about. You better stay tuned.
Yes.
You guys make me tell all the stories,
Right,
and then we go
right,
live.
but it's scientific, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm staying.
I'm staying. There we go.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm talking to myself. Don't mind me. I was
Jam88.3, that was something local of Kapatid right there with a song called Luha. Right before that, we heard something from Mazzy Star. Look on the down from the bridge, and right on top of the set was the Emptiness Machine by Linkin Park. Good evening, everyone. My name is DJ April, and
DJ Rowe, and we also have in the studio Chris Williams and Tina Ryan.
Yes.
DJ Tina Ryan.
Looking very fancy.
I know, looking fancy.
What do you call that top? That's like a tube balloon top?
It's called a plastic bag with no handles. At least that's what listeners said earlier. No, it's
What? Are you serious?
a freaking
Don't read
bubble
the
top.
don't read the comments.
No.
That's one of the rules.
Don't be
Don't read the
mean.
comments.
Don't be mean.
It's a
Well, I'm-
bubble top.
Well, I'm happy you're here.
Yes.
I'm happy I'm
For
here.
Heels and Heartbeats.
Yes.
Woo!
I don't know if you guys have started the conversation
No,
on
not
love,
yet.
relationship, and whatnot. Let's start strong.
Yes, let's start strong.
So the reason I actually invited Chris over for Heels and Heartbeats was because when we had him over last Wednesday, we were talking off air about, like stem cells, like regenerative stuff, and
Yeah.
somehow he was just saying like, how come the Philippines doesn't export virgin coconut oil? There's so many uses for it, and we're in abundance, and we're not maximizing its use.
Mm-hmm.
And then he basically mentioned that it can even be used as lube,
Yep.
like better than the ones that you buy at the stores. And I was like, wait, what?
Wow.
Mhm.
So apparently, I was like, basically told him, you know what, you should come on the Friday show because that's where we delve into all of that stuff.
Yes.
So pray do tell,
Well,
Mr. Williams.
where the conversation started was we talked about injecting your penis or vagina with stem cells and exosomes.
This is scientific. it's
Okay,
scientific.
okay.
And so because that's what people are doing now
Right.
is you can literally inject those to improve blood flow.
Oh, it's
yeah.
In men
so
improves
this is to treat
girth.
Wait.
impotence?
Yes,
Does
not
that
even
help
that.
with ED?
Yes.
Oh.
And so for women,
Yeah.
we were talking about like postmenopausal. They lose
Yeah.
sensitivity, they lose blood flow, and so you can inject stem cells, exosomes in there. It's called the P&O shot.
So it's
Oh.
like
Very
you're
popular.
a teenager all over again.
Yes, I've
Wow.
actually
Tina,
done.
are you
I've,
listening to this?
I've-
Let's pay attention.
yeah, I've actually done it, and it does work. Yeah.
Ooh.
So
Okay, is it painful?
I mean, it's like a little insulin needle. You can put a little,
Ah!
you can put a little topical numbing on there,
Where
or
did it-
or some of the some of the nurses will put a local block.
I think
Yeah.
Tina's curious.
where?
You should
the
definitely
specific
do it,
part, the
yes.
specific part where?
Yes,
Very
the
interesting.
labia, and it's the 10 and the 12. 10 and the 2. You do 2 injections.
Oh.
So just on the labia, right on the side. Glitters.
Oh, on the
gosh.
side for the girls.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Ooh, that sounds.
Some people have piercings down there, you know.
Yeah.
So this is something that's actually going to be
But
good for you.
but that's what
Yeah.
stem cells do is they can help repair damage, and we
Yeah.
also have neural and muscle components, so they can help repair the neurological damage and muscle damage. You know.
Oh, like from like birth and stuff, cause it.
All of that. I'm just saying, as you age, you know, it starts
It
to
does get
uh,
damaged.
lose
Yeah.
like elasticity.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
elasticity. It can be tightening. It's the same thing.
So human baby comes out of there. Hello.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's where the conversation started, and what
See, I told you we were starting
Here we
strong.
are.
yeah. So what I was saying is, you know, I have a Bible verse, okay? Because
Okay.
I know there's a lot of great Catholics here. So you ready for a Bible verse?
Okay, let's
Yeah,
do the
go
Bible
ahead.
verse.
So look up Genesis 1:28, and if you have your Bibles in your car, okay?
I'm gonna
And
Google.
you're gonna Google it. Genesis 1:28, and he says, "And God blessed them, and God said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply
in
and
numbers."
replenish the earth."
Mm.
Okay, I'm gonna say it again. Be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth.
Yeah.
You know what that's about?
No.
What do you think?
Procreation.
Procreation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, sex.
Okay.
God's basically telling us, I want you to have
Go
sex.
ahead. Yeah, so you can.
I want you to be
Recomprehend.
fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. He says it 3 times.
Yes.
Have sex, have sex, have sex.
Yes.
So I think like when you have a conversation on sexual wellness, it's easy to get it into like the crass or like, you know, like this sexual, but it's like, listen, it's a big part of our lives. And why
Yes.
shouldn't we talk about it and have a healthy conversation
Right.
about it? So I'm
Yes.
saying like while we're having fun and talking about it, it's like this is a big deal.
Mhm.
And sexual wellness is really a health indicator for how you're feeling. For men, do you wake up with morning wood? Do women have good vaginal lubrication?
Yes.
Do you have good sensitivity? And can you have a good sexual experience, right? All of those are massive health indicators. And
Yes.
people seem to give
People
up
are
on
too shy to
they're
basically
shy to talk about it.
it.
Men
It's a
hate
cultural
talking about
thing,
ED.
yeah.
Women don't want to say, "Oh, I have vaginal dryness and it's itchy," or
It's a
you know,
cultural
yeah. Men
thing.
men hate talking about it. "Oh, I can't get an erection. I'm not a man," and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
like, and those are all like indicators of other health stuff, right?
Mhm.
But since you brought up the coconut oil thing, it's
You brought it up, not me.
well, it's actually a larger conversation, and you know we'll probably have to do this in a couple of parts to really talk about this.
Okay.
But it's
Yeah.
like, what's interesting is if I'm being bold, okay, and I make a really
Mhm.
bold statement here, probably the pinnacle of sexual pleasure is vaginal lubrication. Okay,
Okay.
right?
But
Yeah,
can
okay.
there be too much?
Uh,
Is there such a thing as too
I
much?
don't think so. I don't think so.
Really?
I
Yeah.
don't think so.
If there's too much lubrication.
No, I don't think so. I'm talking about natural lubrication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
But
And-
but
and
if
if we-
you
and if we have-
stuff, then that's
And if
too
we
good.
have the real after dark, I could tell you why. But I'm saying when you're talking about sexual pleasure,
Okay.
it
Yeah.
really is the peak. It's not as much about the men's erection or the chemistry.
Yes.
Vaginal lubrication is so important.
Mhm.
And what's happened, especially with women, and guys that are listening, you really should understand this, is women use these soaps that have scents in them and fragrances
Oh, that's
Okay.
and
bad.
additives.
I heard that's
Yeah.
They
bad.
overwash. You know,
Yes.
women are naturally clean,
Hormone
and
disruptors.
they love to
Yes,
just
yes.
overly wash it. And a healthy vagina is very self-cleansing, and
Yes,
it will
it
do it
is.
itself. And so you see these women that just pound the heck out of their special parts over and
Mhm.
over again with these soaps and then smells and things like that. And so you'll see these OBGYNs when they go in there and they're like, "Well, I have these problems," and it's like, well, it's because you're just overwashing these
Yeah.
areas and you're putting perfumes and stuff like that. Another big one is polyester clothing is an endocrine disruptor,
Yeah.
and it's too tight. It has
So
plastics
like
in
these
it.
workout clothes, right?
Yeah, they're not good, you know.
You
And
can't
so
breathe.
we talked about this on the last thing: is how many things are like assaulting you. It's the same thing with sexual wellness. Like all
So
these
it's better to go commando.
commando, yeah.
I heard. No, I heard.
You
gave me
I
just
heard that
in
it's
time.
good
Sarah's
to-
here.
I
It
heard
is.
though that wearing like underwear is not a bad thing, but it's like too much underwear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You gotta
Yeah.
give it
Right.
yeah,
You gotta.
Right.
yeah.
So
So
you have like the liner thing for the girls. It's also bad, right?
yeah.
They do that.
Girl.
Microplastics and yeah.
There is a huge company being sued.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't
Okay, yeah,
mention
of
the word.
course.
Yeah.
But so many lawsuits in the
Really?
U.S. with
Uh-huh.
that particular brand.
Yeah.
And to double down on this, infertility rates are through the roof.
Because
And
of
look at
tight underwear in men.
a lot of things that are endocrine disruptors. Even the COVID vaccine,
Right.
when you measured men's semen levels, they could see that mRNA vaccine in there, which was causing fertility issues and things like that. If you look at countries like Japan and Korea, their birth rates are plummeting. So the topic of sexual wellness is like never been more important. Like
Mhm.
figuring it out, like, you know, there's social indications, there's physical indications, all those kinds of things, right? The other thing is you should know that your body, like that's its sole purpose, right? Like your the way you feel your libido is really an indicator of your health. Like if you're not feeling your natural libido, that means your estrogen levels are off as a woman, your testosterone levels are off, you have blood flow issues, you're pre-diabetic. And so like, that whole topic seems to get not talked about, and in the Philippines is very, cautious about talking about it, but maybe we'll
I'm so curious, Chris. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
yeah.
Chris, by the way, once again, for those of you who are not familiar yet, or you didn't catch it earlier when we were talking about it, you used to be a Mormon.
Yeah. So
and you took an oath of celibacy. How long was this for?
Back
I mean,
then.
Wow,
So
wow.
basically,
You
when
you
did
guys
you
are
pop
really
your
putting me on
cherry?
the spot. You were really
Yes.
putting,
When did you pop
you
your
were
cherry?
really putting me on the spot. Wow. Do I answer this?
We have time. We have time,
So
Chris.
in the Mormon culture, you take a law of chastity, which says that you will not have sex outside of marriage,
Yes.
and it's very strict. It basically, it's like murder number one, and then sex outside of marriage number two. So in your mind, it's that kind of thing. And so growing up with that in mind, I made it till 31.
31.
That's fine.
No, it's pretty long. It's pretty
No,
good.
that's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
for a guy.
I could have been on that show,
31?
40-Year-Old Virgin.
Right?
And so, yeah. So this, so sexual wellness, is a topic I've always been interested in.
Yeah, I can
and,
imagine, right?
and had to learn a lot about it. And I would say, like, we were talking about the lube thing.
Yeah.
And so one of the first reasons I came to the Philippines was, a lot of men have very unhealthy masturbation habits. They do what's called death. They do what's called death grip.
There's an unhealthy version.
Yeah,
it's
it's,
kind
too,
of-
it's too much.
Yeah.
And then
It's
so
called
the
death
regular,
grip.
intercourse is not pleasurable
They
anymore.
they,
Yes.
they use same thing like lotions and things that have harshness or dry and stuff like that.
Because
So
whatever's available.
that's
basically.
right. That's right. Yeah, that's another topic. That's
Yeah.
And so what happens is a lot of men have erectile dysfunction in the other direction. Is they can't finish or they have a hard time being with a partner,
Okay.
right? And so having a conversation about like sexual wellness, you bring up healthy masturbation,
Yes.
right? Same thing with men and women. And so part of this was looking at products could affect it. So I came up with a product line. One of them was with women and vaginal dryness. It turns out the omegas are very healthy for women to have internal moisturization.
Okay.
So you probably heard about like omega-3s
Yeah.
from fish.
The fatty acid.
There's a land-based oil called omega-6s, and it's from the sea buckthorn. And I worked with a group to go to the Himalayas where these women hand-picked the sea buckthorn, and they would extract the omega-6s, combining it with omega-3s, and you had a super omega. And women would take those, and they would feel an improvement in natural vaginal lubrication
Wow.
because of the internal moisturization.
I've never even heard of omega-6 and omega-3.
Really? You know omega-3s from fish, though, right? Yeah.
Omega-3s. What? I didn't even know that.
And now we have
The reason
omega-6.
the reason it's a big topic is people are overeating the omega-7s, which are inflammatory, out of
Seven.
balance. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and maybe I mixed up the 6 and 7s, but the omegas that we're eating are coming from like seed oils and things like that. We're not getting a balance of them, right? Like the egg yolk, stuff like that. So you see a lot of people having so many problems with that. So anyway, so I'd heard about so in my exploration of sexual wellness,
Yeah.
that comes up about healthy masturbation. And then what you use. And men are notoriously bad at this, and they have a lot of bad habits, and it causes a lot of issues. And so I developed these product lines addressing that. And so I'd heard about coconut oil as a lubricant. And
So excited.
and what happened is I came across a very particular type of oil, and I brought it with me.
Ooh.
And I'm going to let you all put a little in your hand and feel it. And that's it. That's where it stops. And that's where it stops. All right.
I think that's
Hey,
what's
we gotta-
happening right now.
We gotta have a sense of how
So
it feels.
hold on so let me tell
Don't
you.
get too excited.
Yeah. Okay, you guys
Okay,
can
my
take
skin's looking dry too.
just put a little bit on the back of your hand and just feel it, okay? So I'm gonna put a little drop. Sorry, it's not. It's a fresh one, so I have to. Okay. Okay. So
This
just
is
feel
the
that.
coconut oil?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what it is. Okay. I'm just gonna put one drop on you. Okay.
Sorry to get-
I'm lubing up the women here. Those of you who can't see, so they've all been lubed up. So just feel it. Now, what I want you to notice is how quickly does that start to absorb into your skin?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not sticky
Look how
at
much
all.
it can spread out, just that tiny amount. Like you can rub it like
Yeah.
you can put it over your hands and stuff and rub it on your legs, knees and stuff like
Oh,
that.
it doesn't smell.
Yeah,
It doesn't
see,
smell,
you
it
just
doesn't
caught it.
smell.
It
So
doesn't
this
smell.
is a very
That's the
particular
first
kind of oil. It's called medium chain triglyceride, which is MCT. You've probably heard about this. People.
MCT or
Yes.
coconut oil?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what happens is I was able to go out into the farmlands, And I was watching the farmers harvest the coconuts by hand on horseback. They brought them to these U.S. expellers that would push the coconuts through these heavy metal compressors, expellers is what they're called, and it would push out the crude oil, right? And then they would refine that, okay? And so they use natural husks to slowly dry them. But then what happens is they slowly heat the virgin coconut oil, and they take off the long chain fatty acid, and you're left with just the MCT, the medium chain triglyceride.
Yeah.
And feel how silky smooth that is. And she just said it. It doesn't smell.
Yeah.
It's not sticky. It's actually
It's gone.
it's gone. Look at that. It's low on the.
It's gonna
I'm
absorb
smooth.
it.
It's yes, yes. It's low on the cosmodinic scale, which is the pore clogging. A lot of people have a sensitive pore, something like that. Stuff comes up. And yeah, so I went to the Coconut Congress, and they had a scientist, and he said that this MCT oil particularly is the fastest absorbing oil on the skin there is. So if you compare it to jojoba oil and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I started my statement by saying that the pinnacle of sexual wellness really is vaginal lubrication, right? And this particular product can be used in masturbation, sex, and things like that to
I feel
reduce.
like it should be for as a lotion.
No,
Can
it's-
you use it like for regular skincare?
I made a women's skincare line out of this too.
But
I made
this
body.
particular one is for.
This
lube.
is this. Well, no, it has multiple use cases. You can use it.
Okay.
It can be a carrier oil for essential oils. But I made a body butter and face cream using the same
Ooh.
ones.
You
Yeah.
can basically just have this and then
Yeah.
just use it.
But look at it, like your hand.
Yeah,
It's
it's
absorbed.
glistening.
And do you feel like is it sticky?
No,
You know?
no, not
Yeah.
at all. Oh, I
Yeah.
hate, and that's why I don't moisturize.
Yeah,
I
'cause
actually
hate
don't
that
like
sticky
putting
feeling.
lotion
Yeah, I know.
Yes,
I
I
only
don't
do
either.
that
I don't
at
like the
night.
smells. And so in sex and masturbation, friction is actually the killer, right? Friction is what stops
Yeah.
the pleasure. It's what stops the fun, right? And so these the reason you probably have you ever used a water-based one? You guys want to since I had to ask my question, have any of you used a water-based lubricant? Okay, and what did you think of it?
It's still sticky.
It's not great, is it?
Yeah.
Do you know why that they push the water-based one so much? Why they don't push oil-based?
Why?
What do you think?
Because they don't have enough coconut.
Because they're not supposedly safe with condoms. Because supposedly oil,
Oh, the
can break a
oil.
condom.
Oh, okay.
And I think that they've done tests. It's like very hard. You'd have to like have a lot of coconut oil or other oils to break down the whatever they are.
Yeah. The rubber.
The rubber, yes. So that's why they don't really sell a lot of oil based. The other thing is like it's a little bit messy. It gets on things, right? It doesn't stain. So there's some trade offs and things like that. But I'm saying the Philippines has the very best coconut oil in the world. I think this would just do magnificently everywhere. Like this is needed. Every single person should have a small bottle of Filipino MCT coconut oil next to their bed.
For the
And-
economy.
Exactly. Yeah. And
No,
so
and we have a ton of coconuts.
yeah, and so I could guarantee you use this, men listening, use this in either healthy masturbation or with your partner, and I guarantee you'll have like the best sexual experience you've ever had in your life. Like it's life changing.
Now we're very curious.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And so I'd say when we talked about vaginal health, one of the things I didn't know as a guy was how delicate the bacterial balance is in vaginal health, in the flora, the lactobacillus, the perfect balancing of what it is. And because of all the endocrine disruptors and all of these things, people's diets, seed oils, all that kind of stuff, it's just very disruptive to that area. And so I think like men need to be some more supportive of understanding that, what causes those issues. It's so easy, especially from a man, they're just like, oh, it's not good, or this is your problem, or what's going on here. And it's hard conversations to have to sort it out. But there's things you can do internally and externally to really,
We're still so far behind when it comes to sexual wellness and just being open about it.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Even though with the internet nowadays that you can pretty much research anything, there's still a lot of stigma talking about it and divulging things.
Yeah.
So yeah, do we have a commercial break?
Yeah, we can break for a commercial.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we'll be back with more of that. Just before that, just a reminder for you guys.
Oh, it's totally gone.
Yeah.
Pretty good, huh? Yeah, see, I can see it doesn't look like it's like glossy
No,
or.
but the greasiness is why I don't
It's not
use
greasy,
lotions
huh?
either.
Feel
Look
it's
how
not
dry my
greasy.
skin is. You can write your name.
Like I have dry scalp. I use it on scalp. It's really great as a carrier oil. Like I'll put oregano oil, rosemary oil. This is amazing as a carrier oil
Oh
for
my gosh,
essential
it's
oils.
for
Yeah.
hair
Yeah,
growth.
hair
Oh my
growth. So you
gosh.
can cut this with rosemary
Wait,
and
so-
put it in there.
But you specifically.
This is MCT.
So this is not for sexual use.
It is a skin grade formula that I came up with. I think it's called the C6. There's different
What's your
chains.
background? Are you like
I've done a lot of product development.
nice? Okay.
So I've done my own supplement line, essential oil line,
Wow.
and that's why this, the stuff I'm doing with stem cells is kind of like the pinnacle of like, you can start with food and supplements and oils and pills and potions, and then it's like regenerative health is now like the top of the food
Yeah.
chain. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh, this is interesting. It doesn't smell.
No.
So,
And I do that on purpose. I could put fragrance in it,
Well,
and I could put
nah.
other vitamins
'Cause
like vitamin A, vitamin E.
what's a safe fragrance? Because obviously perfumes
Nothing.
are bad.
There's
right?
no safe.
Oh.
They're all unless you use like organic and real, but those don't
What about
last very
essential
long.
oils?
Yeah, but they're acid based that burns. So you have to be
Nah,
careful.
we grew up thinking, oh my gosh, consumerism. So we're buying all this shit.
Yeah.
It's,
But you see how I started the conversation? You have to start it with understanding that this is about your wellness. This is about something that's important in your life. We're not joking around. I mean, we're joking around, but it's like it's serious.
Yeah.
You're not having pleasurable sex in your life. You don't wake up with morning erections. You can't bond with your partner.
I think my vagina's
I mean,
closed.
But I'm saying like it's so detrimental.
Did you guys hear that? No, sorry.
We don't know.
Close for business, guys.
Yeah. It's the
Hi,
replay.
Joanne.
It's the replay you have to be worried about because it gets uploaded.
Can we edit that part out?
What?
Here.
Yeah.
That's what makes it fun.
And so it's like if your sexual wellness is not worth fighting for, what is? I think a lot of people give up on it, and they say it's like part of the longevity movement is you don't have to give up on things. You don't have to give up on your hair, your face, your joints, your back, right? That's what we're saying.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the space I'm in now, it's like don't give up on that. Same with your sexual wellness. You should enjoy it all the way till the end. On your very deathbed, the last thing you should do is have pleasurable sex right before you die. You know what I mean?
There's this
wh-
notion that you get older that you're not supposed
exactly.
to. Right?
Why would you? Yeah.
That's the stigma, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
you're already
Okay,
old,
I'm ready to
right?
party. I'm
So-
riled
Yeah,
up,
now
you
you're ready.
guys.
Yeah.
Especially in the Philippines. Like
But you
they'll-
see I did it really carefully, just a little bit.
Oh my
You really
gosh.
don't need much.
Yeah.
Did you put some on your knees and?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so I'm saying like it actually
I
really
want some from
lengthens
tiny
out.
legs, please.
Yeah,
These
sure.
look good. Well, you did hotspot me.
I know. Yeah, now things are escalating. Yeah. It's just hard to get the right bottle. See, I didn't like these. I have different bottles, I have labels and stuff. But I did come up with a women's fragrance formula. I used Ylang
Oh
Ylang,
my gosh.
which is the Philippine. So I looked up all the strongest aphrodisiac essential oils. See, this is all really good stuff. So I don't know if
Ilang ilang. Wow.
Yeah.
Pinoy na Pinoy na pala to, no? You know, I brought you something. It's so hold on.
Oh, that's
I
so
love
cute.
your
It's a
bag.
doggy.
It's Kobe.
It's so cute.
I'm
You're
not sure if
poodle.
I brought it, but I got my first Takis today.
Wow.
I hear these are like really.
I've
Like-
never had those.
Yeah, I've never had them, but
So
I
look,
think
so
they're
see,
they're like
corn
blue.
flour, terrible. Vegetable oil, horrible.
Yeah, seed oil.
Soybean, horrible. Canola oil, horrible. Hold it. Maltodextrin, horrible.
Right?
Monetized glutamate,
And
hydrolyzed
that's
soy.
going straight to the trash.
Hydrolyzed.
Little spray. Spray bottle for like alcohol. Oh, maybe for the oil. Just kidding. No, pero spray yan.
Thank
Hindi
you.
pa. Yeah, but can I just taste it?
Yeah, of course, of
But
course.
I know it's like, what's good about it anyway?
Nothing. It's good that it'll make you happy for 3
It'll make me
seconds.
fat. Just kidding.
No, but you're trying to put on weight.
Let's
You should
let's try
take
this.
you should do protein powder and creatine
It's like Cheetos.
Oh my god.
It's
Is
spicy,
it like
huh?
Cheetos? Like the flaming hot?
I can't explain. Oh, that's sour.
Sour?
Hot
Oh my
spicy
gosh,
sour.
it's really sour and spicy.
Really?
And spicy.
Okay, wait, my mouth's confused.
Hot chili pepper and lime.
I love lime, but hold on.
Donuts.
Oh, ooh. It's overpowered. Oh,
Now it's lime. It tastes like lime. It was
Yeah.
spicy than like the
my
lime.
tongue's burning. Ugh.
Wow.
Right?
See, these are like beer snacks, right?
Oh,
you need
wow.
nothing. You need it with like a
Hello.
beer.
Is there a different flavor? Come on.
I like it.
You like it? You have it. I'm not sure
You
what to
don't
make
like
of it.
It's fine.
I don't know.
But wow, that lime.
It's interesting, yeah.
And the spice. Ooh. nice.
Baba?
I like the top of
Hello.
Whoa!
It's an
Whoa.
experience.
Yeah, there you go.
It's an experience.
I finally had Conkies. Thank God.
Oh my God, where's my friend?
This is from
The
where?
minute longer I wait, I'm
Yes.
not going to sleep.
She's supposed to pick you up.
I'm
Three,
sick.
3 hours later.
No,
Yeah.
it's an hour and a half.
Yeah, we have to downgrade that word friend too.
Right?
You know.
Oh, that's so.
Whoa!
It looked pretty spiced.
Oh, it's sour. It's sour.
It's still there in my mouth.
Oh yeah. Ah. Oh,
I grew up chewing on the sour gumballs, the yaki, the colorful ones, the big ones. So I like this one.
so June 11th.
Okay.
Yay, Mama! Thank you for
I'm
sharing.
gonna join the health night.
Join Chris. So what are we gonna talk about? Stem cell? What's
No,
up?
we should talk about biohacking. Is a more fun conversation. You know,
Whoa!
red light therapy, hyperbaric, living longer. That you know.
Just Wednesday also.
Yeah.
Wednesday wellness.
She wants me to come on June 11th.
And then before that was Matthew's sickness.
I should be back. Oh, you know what? I can't. I'm gonna be in Hong Kong.
On June 11th.
Yeah.
Okay, it's okay. You can do
I'm gonna see if I could do June 18th. I'm gonna message you June 18th.
Oh, my mouth's still burning.
Ooh, wow.
Ay, June 18th.
Did we do this one already?
No.
June 18th. I will pencil book you. Pencil book myself.
June 18th. Yeah.
Chris, what's your last name? Chris?
Williams.
Is it CH or CR?
CH.
Oh, it's my name, Christina.
Crystal, Christine.
Chris Williams. Biohacking. I should
Christina.
read up on biohacking.
You should. It's such a fun topic. I mean, you need it. We should talk about your condition. You should send me the name of your condition in WhatsApp, and
I will do that.
we can
now.
talk about it. Yeah. Because you know, what you have is similar to like scoliosis
Yes.
and degenerative spine, and you know, a lot of people have that. When I'm,
Like I'm surprised I'm sitting right now. I do my board work standing up for
Do
3
you?
hours because I can't sit too long. But right now it hurts.
yeah, I think resistance training would do wonders for you.
Oh yeah,
For back, right?
I know. I'm just so lazy, but I really need because I'm feeling it. I feel
Yeah,
feel
you
like
got to do it because it gets harder
90.
for it to recover.
My
Yeah.
back feels like it's 90 years old.
Yeah, and it gets harder to recover from that.
Oh yeah.
To the
Oh,
point-
you have that thing where it can test your real age too.
Yes.
So you don't want to be like 80.
We're bringing a bone density machine here that you can do for 20 minutes a week, and I can reverse your bone density osteopenia. You push. You want to see it?
So wow. Biohacking.
Yeah.
Ngayon ko alam may omega 6, may omega 7. Nandito lang tayo, girl.
May omega 6 in Cepo. And it's from the Himalayas. So like, oh.
What do you think about Celtic salt, Chris?
Yeah, I
Do you
mean,
believe in that?
there's a lot of microplastics and salts.
Oh man,
You
that's
know?
what they said.
And so you have, well, I don't know, they have the scores, so you can look them up.
Do you know? Have you heard of Barbara O'Neill?
See this? Look at this, Ro. So this is the machine here. You
Oh,
you
you
push
s-
with your legs, and then you pull down, and then you press, and then you shrug. It's 4 movements, and you do it for 20 minutes. You do it once a week. Takes 7-8 months. They can reverse bone density
No
loss.
way.
We're gonna be bringing one of those here.
Is that gonna
Wow.
make my spawny better?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
And it doesn't use weights. It uses your own body
Yeah, your
pressure.
body weight.
And see, it locks you in there.
Wait, so you have a trainer for that? That's
Uh-huh.
certified?
Yeah,
Or
you
it's just like,
would go to like a chiropractor or a personal trainer place or a gym or a wellness hub.
That looks like an expensive.
It
machine.
is. Yeah,
So-
they're like $100K USD.
Yeah. So now, if you bring that here, are you gonna offer it to the gyms or?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the company that did the full body harmonic vibration, the vibration plates. Have you seen those?
Yeah, like
If you go to
Ogawa
Car-
has that.
Yeah. If you go to Cary Sports, they have one there. Other places have them. They're
Oh, so it's good.
it's really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Parang naiinis ko yung
Stimulates
tabako
blood flow and
Hello. Diba?
Para maalog sila.
spicy.
Yung tuma.
Huh?
Where's the taba?
Hello!
Hello.
Sweetheart!
I hide it well. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So, if that machine is like 100K plus, how much are the classes?
Well,
Oh no, it's a treatment.
it's a treatment plan. It's not that bad. Like I mean,
You know how much a chiropractor?
Yeah, there you go.
they're very
Sometimes
expensive
you have to
here.
refresh
I
it.
know, and they overdo it here. I don't think they're very good here. I've been
I
to
know
him.
what-
A guy almost seriously injured me here,
Oh
like
my
really
gosh.
bad.
I only
He
go.
almost hurt me severely,
What's the
severely
name of
bad.
it?
It was just one of the chain ones,
Oh,
and
God,
he
yeah.
really cracked my neck. You
I
know,
I
I wouldn't do it. You know,
I would
you should work with strength coach. You should get a strength coach.
I look for a chiropractor that's a graduate from Palmer University because I like their technique. I was married to one.
Okay.
So.
The better ones are they use the guns and they just can do
Yeah,
it lightly instead of actually manipulating your neck. But I'm saying, if you remember one thing from me, strength training will
Yeah.
drastically improve
I've
your life.
heard.
Every
People have
single
been telling
thing.
me for
Every
years
single thing.
to strengthen my core.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
I
you just start
For
really
your
small.
longevity, you know.
yeah,
for your
and I've
own
wasted all this
longevity.
time, and
Yeah.
I feel like I'm turning 50 next year. Maybe next month. Maybe it's a good thing.
And
good
if you
time to
really
start.
can't make it to the gym, just do body weight. Do squats and assisted
Hey, there's
push-ups.
progress.
and-
I got my dumbbells from my old
yeah,
place.
good.
So
Yeah.
hey.
There's so many great little YouTube workouts you just do at
Right?
home.
But
Yeah.
I want that machine. Let's help you promote that thing.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Where
do
can
it.
we bring that?
It needs to be in like a gym wellness hub or like a pain
Oh.
clinic or
Yeah, the
even we want to put them in the
machine.
hospitals too. They can help. Yeah. And if they buy it through the U.S., they can finance it for like 10 years. They have like really easy ways to get it. But what's even better is they have a machine that uses ultrasound to scan your spine and hip, and so they can see your bone density without a DEXA scan. DEXA scan uses X-ray.
Live in 30 seconds.
Can we replace MRIs with something that's less scarier?
I have it. Yeah, I have an ultrasound. Well, for bone density, I have something easier, which is an ultrasound of the spine and hip. Go get a DEXA scan.
Where am I gonna get that?
I don't know what you do
DEXA
with it.
scan?
Yeah.
What, how do you spell it? DEXA? DEXA? Is
Yeah.
that DEXA scan? Is that the bone density scan?
Yeah.
Jam88.3.
St. Luke's has
That
one.
was Dream Theater by
With
which one is it? By
Yeah.
Pull Me Under.
Pull Me
Pull Me Under by Dream Theater. There you go.
That goes
It
out
requested by Alex Kuya.
Yes.
All right, and before that we had Sick of Myself by Matthew Sweet as well. But now
Great
you're
one.
back on Heels and Heartbeats with DJ Ro, DJ April, DJ Tina Ryan, and Chris Williams. All right.
Hello.
Our expert when it comes to wellness in all aspects.
Yeah,
of
we're
wellness.
we're fully biohacking.
I'm learning so much.
So maybe thanks to your friend that she's late, so you're
Oh,
able
yeah,
to get to
I
know all
know.
of these things.
I learned about
And we're
omega
just getting
6 and
started.
7 today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And coconut oil. Yes.
Yay.
So many uses.
So, somebody that the makeup artist actually, because I mentioned about the whole virgin coconut oil, right?
Mhm.
And I guess this is also for the listeners, because they might try to use what you buy from the grocery store.
Yes.
Yeah.
How about
Right?
we don't?
So apparently he did try it, and he said that it kind of burned.
For sexual wellness?
Oh.
Yeah, because it probably wasn't a
So basically, you
single
have-
use. It wasn't.
And you have to go through the process of eliminating all the
No,
different.
virgin coconut oil should have been great for that. He probably got one that had perfume or
Ah.
fragrances added. That's very common here.
Okay.
They add things, But virgin coconut oil is great for sexual wellness too. You can use it. I'm just saying it has a bit more of the smell.
It's not
It's a
gonna
bit
burn,
thicker.
It's not
No,
hot.
no, it should not have burned.
Okay.
Yeah, he may have another issue.
All
Yeah.
right.
Maybe that's
You have any
another
question?
oil.
Well,
For-
I wanted to tell you about the sexual wellness stem cell injection a little
Okay,
bit. Okay.
Okay.
So what happened is here in the Philippines, people did the PRP where they would take your own blood
Right.
and they would
inject
spin it
Yeah.
and they would get the plasma that had like your natural stem cells
Yes.
and they'll do it to like regrow your hair, your face, but then they started doing it for sexual wellness. So they would do penile vaginal injections of your own blood plasma back into your penile injection, vaginal injection to help with sexual wellness.
Mhm.
But if you're 45, that means your cells are 45. They're not going to be as potent,
Right.
right?
So you
they
need younger cells.
younger cells,
Mhm.
right? And so they started using the placental and umbilical cords
Yes.
that were processed into exosomes and stem cells and then injecting those, right? And so I had a short list here of some things that it does. So it regenerates blood flow and improves the vascularity, right? Repairs nerve damage and tissue damage. It improves vaginal tightness and lubrication, enhances sensation, reduces pain during sex, and men it can help with penile nerve recovery, which is actually a lot. A lot of men wear like these tight pants all the time.
Yeah.
They're in the
Mhm.
cars. There's a lot of vibration.
So wait,
right,
are
you're
you-
sitting all day, sitting.
Are you saying that it's better to wear boxers than briefs?
Well, it's yes. The tight restrictive things can be harmful. But what I'm saying is, our clothes have plastics in them. The polyesters, right?
Yeah.
They have plastics in them, which are endocrine disruptors. So these women wearing those Lulu yoga pants that are
Mhm.
super tight,
Yeah.
you're shrink wrapping yourself in plastic.
You can't breathe.
Essentially.
It's not the breathing part. It's that the plastics are not good. You don't want to have. You don't want to. That's why we don't. That's why I say don't drink out of plastic bottles.
Uh-huh.
Don't reheat things in the microwave in plastic. Even like cans have plastic lining in them. Like they can do these tests now and they can find the microplastics in your body.
So essentially, your body's absorbing the
Microplastics.
plastic that's in your
Clothes.
clothing.
Yeah, it's not good. It's an endocrine disruptor. So it hurts your hormones, right? They can do a blood panel on you and you can see it. It really is scary. Like even cutting boards, people use those plastic cutting boards, things like that. I feel like when I talk, it scares people because it's like, what are you supposed to even eat?
You're like
You
those
know?
you're like those scientists who show everything under a microscope, and
Yeah.
it's like you don't want to eat anything
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I've tried to make a big effort not to do it. The microplastics, you can get like a home water filter, but even in the Philippines, there's a lot of plastic-based stuff. Everything, the microwave and things like that. But I'm saying, so if you haven't done this, I'll tell you one of the best things you can do is do a hormone panel. Have any of you done a hormone panel
No.
before?
No, what is that?
So they do a blood draw and they look at your hormone levels. So one of the things that women don't understand is that they actually have testosterone in their body.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so a lot of women are out of balance. They might have too much estrogen versus their testosterone.
Mhm.
And it's a funny thing because so many people, and without sounding, whatever it is, women often get blamed about being emotional. A lot of that is chemically based, right? A lot of people are like, you're just being dramatic. And I'm like, not really. They're responding to the hormones and chemicals in their
based on
body.
Science.
Yeah. And so that happens a lot to people where they think they're depressed, they think whatever it is, and it's like, no, you have chemical imbalances, you have hormone problems, and those can be fixed. And so they always say, well, where do I start? You start with a blood panel, right? And so when you get this blood panel, it's going to show you your testosterone levels, your estrogen levels, all those other key indicators,
Mhm.
and it can then help you to start dialing it in. And what I'd encourage you to do is you can put it into ChatGPT. So go get a blood panel done and put it in there, and it'll actually tell you. That's what's so cool about it is we don't like. They were saying that the ChatGPT is like better at diagnosing issues than most doctors now.
It's actually a really good therapist too.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Yes.
Answers so.
Sounds
Where
like you're
did we
speaking
leave
from
off?
experience.
Yeah.
Are you leaving?
My ride's finally here.
All right, enjoy.
Enjoy.
Bye.
Bye, Tina.
Enjoy this conversation.
Yes.
Great meeting you. Be safe. We'll see you. We'll see you at
Thank
the
you for
party. We'll
the
see you
hot
at the.
spot.
We'll see you at the party. And the lubrication.
It's too much for one day.
Okay. I come on strong the first date, Yeah. So what happens in this whole longevity movement is people are like, hey, I want to optimize my life. I want to live longer. And so people listening, it's like, okay, cool, this all sounds great. What am I supposed to do? You really should go get some kind of blood assessment done and just see where you're at. And depending on how far you want to go down that rabbit hole, they have tests to look at microplastics. They have tests to look if you have that mRNA COVID vaccine still lurking around and issues and things like that. You can look at your hormone levels. You can look at your inflammation markers, all those kinds of things. And it's like, if you feel off, if you're not sleeping, if you have brain fog and these things, like, well, probably something's up. But people will blame it on, oh, I have a rough day at work and my relationship sucks. It's like, well, yeah, a lot of this is chemically based. And so, don't trick yourself.
Can you basically get a blood panel in like any clinic or any
Yeah.
hospitals? Or
Yeah,
anything? Or is it,
even these even a lot of these little wellness hubs, you can
Yeah.
go in there and they'll do a basic blood panel for you.
Mm.
There's one over here called I think Precision
Yeah.
testing.
Yeah,
They'll do a blood panel for you. They'll let
Oh,
you pick
okay.
them and stuff like that. But play around with ChatGPT. You can even ask it like, what are the best blood panels for hormone levels, or put in your symptoms and say, I feel tired, my skin is dry, right? Like all these things. You put it in there, it'll kind of help you, but go get some kind of test. And what ends up happening, especially in the USA right now, the HRT and the TRT market, which is
Mm.
hormone replacement therapy
Mhm.
and testosterone replacement therapy, is massive, right? And so that's one of the changes now is, as you age, they were talking about, they looked at men's testosterone levels and they compared them to their grandfather's levels, and they were half that of their grandparents. So let me say that again. So they looked at the grandparents.
The grandparents had better
the
testosterone.
granddad's testosterone level. Then they looked at the grandson's testosterone level, and the granddad, like they had blood comparisons at the same ages. I'm talking about the same age, not when they're older. I'm saying
Right.
comparing the same age,
Okay.
they were half that. the grandsons were. And so I'm telling you, all these things in the water and the pesticides and the
Yes.
seed oils and the microplastics and the stress and the pollution.
Plus life in general.
They don't eat enough protein. They're not eating,
Yeah.
whole foods and, good quality stuff. Like, it's really affecting it. So now take a guy and he's got half the testosterone, right? They have more estrogen. They have more effeminate feelings. They have more. I mean, there's a cascade of
So
things.
that's what's happening. That's why all these men nowadays, they're acting
Are
like
like
princesses.
Yes, I'm saying it's funny to say that, but that is exactly right.
Right?
Like, why would a guy feel that way? Well, his hormones feel that way. There was one of the most controversial things, if you heard about Alex Jones saying that the chemicals were turning the frogs to different. They were changing
Alex
their
Jones
sex.
is a little over
He's
anyway.
crazy.
I know.
But then they went back to the science and they did find that the chemicals being put in the river were turning male frogs into female frogs.
Ooh.
Literally, it was changing their sex organs. And so you look at, like, that's what I'm trying to say, like, and I'm being very careful how I'm saying this because I respect people's choices. They can do whatever they
Yes.
want. But I'm saying, why does some guy feel more effeminate? Why does some woman feel more masculine? Why do you feel depressed and sad and tired? All of these things are your body's chemicals and hormones telling you things,
Okay.
Yeah, so like dating, relationships, basically there's a whole bunch of these reels where they say men nowadays want to be the one who's being chased. They no longer want to be the chaser.
Yeah.
They want to be the one being treated as a princess, basically, right?
Mhm.
And that's probably, okay, that kind of
No
makes sense. I was
wonder.
like, okay.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening. It's an epidemic.
I'm so glad you brought that up because, like, as this is a dating show, like these people that are listening right now, if you have a problem with your partner, it's almost inevitably health related. If
Mhm.
they're fussy, bored, whatever it's like, they're tired. Help them get better sleep. Fix their sleep.
Right.
That's
They're not being fed well. They're not exercising. We were just talking with Tina. She's like,
Yeah.
I'm stressed out. Stuff. I go work out. I guarantee you go work out for 30 minutes. You're not going to
Did you
feel.
just say sabi ko?
No, I said
Okay.
Tina.
Okay,
Yeah.
I heard sabi ko.
No, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, that's such a perfect thing about, like, dating and relationships and stuff like that. So much of it is based on health.
Mhm.
And if you just did the basics of, like, improving sleep, eating better, all those kinds of things, your relationship will be so much better.
So basically,
Yeah.
what I'm trying to get out of this as well is a red flag would be if the person that you're just started to date obviously has very poor health habits,
Uh-huh.
eating habits.
Uh-huh.
If they're not
It's-
taking care of
Right.
themselves.
Yeah.
Basically, you're in for
Yeah.
A wild
you're in
ride.
for a chaotic perhaps relationship because
Yeah.
that's going to manifest into
Yeah.
their behavior.
And I think
So
guys
it's-
guys are quick to say that, oh, women are emotional, she's moody, she's pissy, da 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 da. And it's like, well, so much of that is health related.
Yes.
Even like when they're on their periods, they kind of just give up. And it's like if they exercise, drank water,
You know, I
walked
never had
around,
those.
really?
Those menstrual cramps,
you're
I
so
never
lucky.
experienced them.
Why?
Never.
What's your
Yeah.
trick to that?
I don't know.
Oh,
I
really?
don't know. I just never.
But I'm
had
saying
them.
so many women when they're going through menstruation, they just use it as like, I'm not going to do anything. You know what I mean? I just need to veg out. And it's like if
Some
you
don't go
walk,
to work.
if you walked, if you if you were hydrated, if you still exercised and moved. They even have like cannabis products they're using to lower that and stuff, which is
Yeah.
which is
Maybe that's
interesting.
not because I work out a lot.
Do you? Yeah, that definitely is it. Yeah. But how much?
You work out.
But that's the question. How well does working out regulate your emotions for you? From
Very much. Like the minute I don't work out because I get busy with life, I'll probably get sick.
yeah.
Like I'll start to feel like I have a cold or something. So it's
But
the
not even that. How
opposite.
does it regulate your emotions? That's
yeah,
what I like.
I feel a little bit sad or maybe cranky.
If you don't work out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I know that the endorphins,
Yeah.
that gets released when you exercise. It makes
Yeah.
you feel happy.
Yeah.
That's why I tell people if you're happy, work out. If
Yeah.
you're sad, work out even more.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think the workout revolution in the Philippines was slow to come here. There wasn't a lot of gyms.
Yeah, it's
Even when I
only
was here,
now
like,
starting to like
Yeah.
get there.
And so you
Yeah.
can't use that as an excuse. You have to learn how to do home workouts and things like that. But like if you could get your partner or spouse to do one thing, it'd be workout.
But what if, for instance, because I do want to like work out really, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we're like something's painful.
hmm
So I try to push a little bit, but sometimes when you want to work out that day, something's painful.
hmm
So your tendency's like,
So that's usually mobility, and
Yeah.
warming up is the answer. So
Mm.
you should do some type of cardio, walking, spin on the bike,
okay.
warm up your body,
Yeah.
and most likely 80% of what you just was described will be gone. Do a
Okay,
proper
cool.
warm up.
Or could
Okay.
it be some sort of like
Free-
psychological thing
Yeah.
where your body doesn't want to work out, so it's telling you it
My
hurts
body
somewhere,
does this to me every time.
right? It's like it's telling you I don't want to work out, so
Yeah.
it's gonna start hurting somewhere.
prior to my period.
Oh.
Usually.
Oh. And I'd say like most people do it. You need to set smaller goals. Like, it's funny you say that. Just set a smaller goal. Like I was just telling, we were talking about Tina. She's like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, can you do 10 minutes of a YouTube channel dumbbell exercise?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah. I'm like, can you do that twice a week? Yeah. Okay.
Start
There you go. But that's what happens is people like, that's what you said, I'm going to go push really hard. I'm going to go to the gym for an hour and a half, and then end up like hurting themselves or not wanting to do it.
That's true. You gotta really know your body too, like
Yeah.
what your
Yeah.
body can do.
Yeah.
Right. And it doesn't matter if the workout routine looks very minimal, very basic, but
Yeah.
if that's what your body's telling you it needs as of now, then you just gotta really listen to that.
Mhm.
Right? So all right. Anyway, more on that later. We'll just have a short commercial break coming up, and we still have Chris over here. So send in your questions, guys. All right.
Like last night, I didn't sleep until like 4 a.m. and then I had a Ride Revolution, the stationary
Uh-huh.
thing, aerobic
Yeah,
class.
I bet you felt like shit the
I
whole
like-
day.
I did that.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Really?
No.
Oh, you pushed through?
No,
and you-
because when I work out after I have a hangover, I feel better because I drink so much water and
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes basically 48 hours to recover from alcohol. 48 hours.
You?
No, that's the
Oh
known
no, I don't.
timeline. I'm saying alcohol will impair you for 48 hours. Now, maybe you're good at pushing through it and hydrating and riding, but generally it takes about 48 hours to get the flush it out of your body.
Average.
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. And at this point, they've actually done the complete study, and the new conclusion is that there is zero redeeming quality about alcohol. Like there used to be like
Even if it just makes you feel better.
they used to say that maybe it's a little resveratrol and wine and da 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 da, but it
Okay.
is literally straight poison. It kills brain cells, destroys your liver. It is straight poison. It's got to be the number one. We should talk. Yeah, we should talk about this topic here. I don't want to get mad at me about that one.
Jam88.3, we're back on Heels and Heartbeats. And just now off air, we were talking about how alcohol affects your body, or how you can overcome
What alcohol
alcohol-
really is.
how alcohol affects you,
Yeah.
essentially, right? So,
Well, what they did a big study on alcohol, and because people like to talk about resveratrol and wine, and they showed the amount of wine you would have to drink to get the clinical level of resveratrol
Yeah.
to impact aging, and it was some massive amount, like whatever it is, like 10 bottles of wine to get the amount of resveratrol. And they do sell resveratrol as a supplement, things like that.
Yeah.
And they were saying it takes about 48 hours for the alcohol to get out of your system. And Ro was saying that after that, tell them what you did. And
No, I was drinking last night. I actually forgot that I even sang. I was at Tiny Bar. I just looked at my phone and I was like, wait, what, singing? So anyway, so I drank, and then I slept at like 4 a.m. and then had a Ride Revolution with Master Hands earlier today at 10 a.m. and I felt fine immediately after.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had to drink a lot of water because it's a lot of sweating. So
Yeah.
and then I went to a photo shoot, so I'm fine. I'm
Yeah,
here
so
right
you're
now.
good at that. I just think people are kind of Joe Rogan, your fellow
Yeah.
podcaster lovers. He finally came out and just said, "I'm done." He said, it took me 48 hours, same thing. Like it just took too long to recover. And he said, I thought I wasn't going to be able to have fun with people if I didn't have it. And he says, it turns out I'm having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But he's old. It took him like 50 years, 55 years to figure that out. But I'll tell you the other thing. I have the statistics here. What percentage of domestic violence victims report alcohol is often involved in the partner's abusive behavior? What percentage of domestic violence victims report that alcohol is often involved with their partner's abusive behavior? What percentage do you think?
70.
40%? 70?
65.
92.
Wow.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Okay.
So what if I told you we could remove alcohol and it would reduce domestic violence among partners by 92%? What would you say to that?
Wow.
Would you be like, maybe I'm willing to give up alcohol, maybe I want to do that, right? What about domestic violence cases with a perpetrator? 55 to 70%. Intimate partner violence, 40 to 60%. Sexual assault, what do you think? So when they do the police reports and they pull up sexual assault, what percentage is alcohol related?
95.
50 to 75%. So maybe as high as, I've seen it actually pretty higher. Imagine up to 75% of sexual assault is being influenced by alcohol. Once again, would you ban alcohol to say we're going to get rid of 75% of sexual assault? right? Same thing with domestic violence among children. It's always almost correlated with alcohol,
Yeah.
you know? So, not to be a downer, but it's just like, this part of that health movement that we're moving towards is just like, why do we allow these things in society? Why do we encourage these things?
Why
do we...
not have both?
Yeah. It's tough to do. It's tough to do.
That's what I do,
I
right?
guess it depends
It's tough
on
to
the
do.
I wake up with a
person.
hangover, go to the gym, and have fun.
And maybe you can manage it, but I'm just saying, like, the side effects of societal decisions and stuff like that. And so, what we do too, part of our research is trying to change the legal landscape around this stuff. So, there's big movements now in the U.S. If you saw Robert Kennedy is the new Human Health Service president. He just banned all these dyes and food colors and pesticides. And it's crazy. In the U.S. versus the U.K., they went and looked at the U.K. cereal boxes that had like organic ingredients, no food coloring dyes. But in the USA, they were allowing it. You know,
Yeah.
and like why are
Is that all that causes the cancer?
Yeah, they're
That's why there's
petroleum
so many
based.
cancers.
Yeah, they're like petroleum based food dyes,
Yeah.
and they looked at like the kids' cereals. It's just laced with sugar and petroleum and food dyes and stuff like that. So like legislatively, so much of this is influenced by what the governments allow, but that's influenced by the corporations. And so this is like the big doom heavy thing that no one likes to talk about, but it's like it's so controlled by big interests. And it's so hard to make changes and things like that. Even like in the U.S., they're trying to push people back to. Did you know originally McDonald's used tallow to do their fries, their French fries, and they were way better. They're crispier. Have you ever had a tallow cooked French fry? You want to talk about tallow?
No.
Tallow
That's
is the
from
beef lard.
Yeah.
So rendered beef fat
Yeah.
and frying your French fries, they come out brown and extra crispy. It's a beautiful oil. It's
Yeah.
like organic. It's healthy. But what happened is they started making all these seed oils.
Yes.
And they had so much of it because they were growing all these corn farms and things like that, and so they overproduced it, and so they lobbied to say that's not healthy. Tallow's not healthy. That's saturated fat. So they actually pushed legislation, and McDonald's switched to like canola oil and these other seed oils, and we don't have that anymore. So even here in the Philippines, all the fryer oils are like the canola oils and things like that. When animal-based fats are way healthier and even taste better, you know. So,
Interesting.
it's tough. It's tough. So it's like, what are you supposed to do? Sorry, I don't know what try to get organic.
Yeah, because you basically are left with whatever options is available.
Well, you know what
right?
the answer is, and this is why we should encourage this in the Philippines especially, is these organic farmers, these pasture-raised chickens, pasture eggs, right? Organic farmers and things like that. Really encouraging those and buying from those makes a difference. I think there's some around here. So if you know where a local farmer is and can buy from them, you should definitely do that and encourage that, Yeah.
We need to go to a song, TOH, top of the hour.
So I actually do. I'm gonna do a song request that was
Alright.
Sent here via Twitch. So coming in from Jazz Ham. Again, I hope I read that right. So yeah, I'm gonna take in your request. That's "Welcome Home" by Coheed and Cambria, right? So, but before that, we're gonna do a TOH first, and we'll be back right here on Heels and Heartbeats.
There's like local farmers that produce like poultry. I think in Rizal, which is
They just don't get enough support with
The farms,
and they make it so expensive that
the organic farms.
people
Why?
wouldn't opt for it because they make it more expensive than the ones.
I know Baguio does really good, right? They have a lot of really good farms up there.
Yeah, for like the vegetables.
Yeah.
And stuff.
But I'm saying like the chicken here, like Filipino chicken is really scary. The way they're raised and the amount of antibiotics and stuff. I mean,
Let's see if we have some comments.
yeah, we were talking about it last time.
Mhm.
Were you here for that? We talked about that?
No.
Yeah, we were talking about, like, have you ever had like a province chicken, like one that's been like,
The native.
they're like chewy and like you have some, we were talking about with the dentist why our mouths are so messed up.
Yeah.
It's because we don't chew anything anymore. We have no
Yeah.
chewing. Like we used to chew sinew and
Yes.
you had to really chew things to eat it. Like think about but now everything's what's called ultra processed. So they talk about like I can't eat. I feel like there's always good stuff. I have to throw it all by good good stories away. But it's like, can you eat 9 potatoes? No. But if I thinly slice them, put MSG and flavorings, and I deep fry them, can you eat 9 potatoes of
Yeah.
potato?
Probably.
Fuck yeah, you can eat
Yeah.
those potatoes. Sorry, I was on the radio. What are the rules here?
No, Facebook Live is fine.
No, but what about the real radio?
Yeah, no, don't
Oh,
say fuck.
okay. This is for the Sirius radio when they have the cable radios.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think of that. I guess this is public radio.
Mhm.
So there's. Have you ever been censored? Have you ever been
No, I
warned?
actually used to have a segment called "It's Like Fucking Austria."
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and they didn't warn you. So you've never had a
no,
warning.
No, I never. And I talk about cities, towns, villages that are named after like private parts.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's why it's like Fuking is a place
In China,
in
Fuking.
Austria.
Oh, and I think
It's
it's a
spelled
Fuking.
fucking, but they pronounce it as fuking.
Yeah.
And they said, I quoted what the on Wikipedia it said, "We've been fucking for a long time
Yeah.
and will always be fucking."
There's a Fuking China too. There, you know.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah.
Yes, I never got flagged, and that was my plug. It's like fucking Austria.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's a real city.
Probably
Because
you said it.
because I'm not being crass. I'm trying to educate.
Yes.
Yeah. Like there's a hell, Michigan, right? So you literally can say I've been through hell and back.
Mhm.
So it's part of that, mini segments. But I do a lot of research. I used to do a lot of. I don't want to do a lot of research anymore. Yeah. So, but I've had guests who accidentally say fuck. But so
And
long as it's an accident.
Oh.
But if you're like constantly like you're Quentin Tarantino and you're just like that fucking
Yeah,
asshole where
yeah.
all those fucking people
Yeah.
are, then yeah, that probably I'd probably get
You get
flagged.
flagged.
And you'd say, "I'm glad they're listening," right?
Yeah.
So you are listening,
yeah,
sir.
thank heavens. Yeah, I was curious what they don't give you the analytics of the listenership. Have you ever seen the numbers? Do they have a way of tracking that?
They do, but usually I think they do it like once or twice a year.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, that's like
And
a
what does it
beta.
what does it look like? What's the range?
Well,
Just the listenership.
the listenership from ages 25 to 45.
But I'm saying how many tune in?
Male 70%, 30% female.
But what's the number of listeners?
Like real time.
Yeah, no, not real time, but do they give you an idea of like, well,
Basically,
one
Facebook
one
Live,
month-
social media
but
is
that's not a
more
good
of an
indicator.
accurate-
No, but I'm talking about people that they
No.
can't
Listen
can't
to
tell
the
you.
radio.
I thought they can give you those numbers because that's important for your advertisers to know that number,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, no.
But they can't give you radio listener numbers. How many people tuned into the frequency?
No, I
That's
don't
crazy.
Have that.
I wonder if that can be done.
They probably can, but we probably don't have access to it.
Because there's ratings and stuff.
Yeah.
But how do they come up with the ratings?
Probably through that, but they don't.
They don't tell you.
Allow anybody else access to see the numbers.
So they just tell you the ratings.
Yeah,
And how do they give you that data? What does it say?
I don't know.
I'm
I just get it
curious.
from the station manager. It says, okay, we
We're
went
up
up from
10%.
12. We're now at the top 10.
Oh. So they don't ever give you the quantity. They just tell you in reference to the other stations.
The other stations. Yeah. And
So-
of course, the number one is still the Masa station, which is basically the ones that are targeting CDE.
Yeah.
Uh,
The one there's speaking Tagalog.
all Tagalog and like
The loud ones.
the really like
Oh.
they're kind of
Not rock.
I thought
Like-
Wish.
like
I thought Wish was the number one. Wish
No, that's
radio.
not number one.
They're
the
not?
number one is like the
Is it loud?
is
No, but that's like a news station, right? The number one. It's not a music-based one. It's more of like a
No.
talk show, news,
no,
political.
They probably
Still
have
music.
parameters
but their
for
DJs sound like
AM.
this. Magandang mga gabi,
Yeah, I know,
mga
I hate
bayan,
that. When I get in the grabs.
The loud ones. The loud ones.
But they actually make so much money.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah, they
Yes.
make so much money. And at first I was
They
like,
have a
can I
lot.
really do that? Will I be doing that? And I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
It gives me like the
It also depends on the music you're playing and people's tastes. And...
I don't mind the music, but for me to have to talk like that.
Well, but I'm
like,
saying if you're playing pop, you're probably going to get more listenership.
What?
If you play modern top 40, right? That's going to
Well,
get
yeah,
more.
that's
That's
basically-
naturally going to get more
That's
listeners. That's what she
Magic,
does.
Magic 89.9
They play
is
top
the pop,
40.
The pop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we're rock.
Yeah.
And in
Yeah.
the Philippines, there really is less people who listen to rock than like America or other countries.
Yeah.
Most people here like their love songs.
Oh,
Or like the
yeah.
popular,
Yes.
just, just the typical like Lady Gaga, The Weeknd, stuff like that. Yeah.
Taylor Swift.
Like, we will never play Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
That's good.
There's actually a question online, so we're gonna be addressing that on air.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
read it.
In a few seconds, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, this one feels more buzzing on Friday, huh? More people are
Yeah.
listening.
You said you didn't drink, that's why I was like, normally we drink,
Oh, let's go ahead. I'll be a I'll be a buzzkill.
but you don't drink.
That's okay.
No,
I don't
I
drink
did. I brought my
too.
beverage.
That's not a.
It is. This is Zevia, plant-based, no sugar, natural. They use organic stevia leaf.
So you're gonna drink
Organic.
energy drinks.
This is organic
While we
caffeine.
drink tequila.
So that's sweet. The taste is sweet.
Yeah,
So that's stevia.
they use stevia.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's organic stevia. And
Jam88.3 We Rock Radio. That was Coheed and Cambria, but with Welcome Home. I always mix up the words, right? I know it in my head. I always mix up the
So
with
always-
and the by.
Always, what you can do is you can always put the band first
The
and then
band
a
first,
dash.
yes.
So.
Coheed and Cambria with Welcome Home. There we
Yes.
go.
Or what I used to do before, Vera, is
Yeah.
I'd put all caps
Mm,
for the band.
mm.
So it doesn't matter where I put it. The ones that it's all
All
caps.
caps, that's
That's
the
the
band.
band,
All
yeah.
right. Noted on that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm learning. But yeah. So we're still here on Heels and Heartbeats with Chris Williams. And there's actually a question that was dropped here on Twitch. And this is from K7 Paraon. And they're saying that their wife, well, basically they're trying to conceive for a good while now. But once they were able to conceive, they got a miscarriage.
Mhm.
So they're asking, they're saying that the wife has PCOS and a real
PCOS.
bad hormone imbalance. And could this be because of microplastics? Could there be a correlation
Yeah.
between those things?
So I'm not a medical professional, so I try to avoid. I'm not giving medical advice, but I can give you some ideas. So she should definitely do the blood and hormone panel,
Mhm.
right? So that's really helpful to get that done. And on a larger scale, women in general around pregnancy should do a lot more to detox. There's like some scary studies coming about where autism is coming from,
Mhm.
right? They're trying to investigate this. They're like, why are these rates up so high?
Yeah.
And so it's like all these things I just talked about with microplastics, seed oils, endocrine disruptors, perfumes, non-organic. If you're going to have a kid, you should do everything you can to detox, de-stress. One of the best ones you can do to do that is sauna. So if you can get access to a
Oh.
I
sauna,
love sauna. Maybe that's another
sweat it
reason.
out. Sweat it out. It's actually really good at getting rid of microplastics and things like that, right? So then I'll tell you about in vitro and pregnancy issues and things like that. So we have done stem cell treatments to help with that. A lot of women have like damage there. We talked about like ovarian damage or issues there. And the stem cells can help to repair tissue. They can do neurological repair, muscle repair. And so we have had women do that as part of fertility treatments. And one of the craziest stories is I had this lady in Miami. She was 46 and she hadn't used our cells yet, but she couldn't get pregnant and she wanted to have a baby. And it's just like, 46, it's like, well,
Yeah.
you're done,
Yes.
like you're done, right? Like that's probably the end of it. But she wanted to get stem cells injected into her ovaries.
Okay.
And so no one would do it. So she went to China to get stem cells injected in her ovaries. She went with her partner. Before they did the ovary injection, they said, we want to try one more time just doing an IV based of stem cells. And so while she was in the wait period after the stem cell treatment, she got pregnant, had a perfectly healthy baby at 47.
Wow.
And I was just like, I told her, like, you should be on National Geographic. Here's this 47-year-old having this perfectly healthy baby after doing a stem cell treatment. I mean, that's just miraculous, Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, they should look into doing the blood panels, definitely doing detoxing, look at, sauna, repair work. And then if you want to get into, regenerative therapies, they should look into stem cell therapies, exosome therapies. It can really help. Where this all started is these mothers wanted to save, we talked about last time, they wanted to save their placenta and umbilical cord. And so all these freezer banks started opening up.
Yeah.
And so post-birth, they would save the umbilical cord and placenta
Yeah.
in cryo freezers, And so now we're taking that material, processing it, turning it into products and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But good luck, don't give up,
Yeah,
In fact, our CEO in the U.S., that's how he started his journey. Was he struggled with
conceiving.
conceiving, him and his wife, and they started doing treatments and things to help with that. So it's a tricky thing.
All right. If you guys have more questions, you can also text or call the hotline. That's 0917. What's the number? 142-8573. 0917-142-8573. The line is open. You can use Viber or WhatsApp. So.
Well, I'll give you another topic that's interesting. Okay. Have you ever? So there's a really interesting book. As I was coming over, I was just thinking, like, what's interesting about this it's called Sex at Dawn, and they went back and they looked historically at the evolution of sex.
Mhm.
And one of the questions they asked was like, where did monogamy come from? Have you ever thought about that? Like, why does society now?
Religion.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. But it's like, what? How did it work before, right? And so, like in the hunter gatherers, they talked a lot about like communal based.
Mhm.
Yes.
And so they talked about how like even kids didn't even know who their real father was, because in communal living, multiple partners, you didn't even really know. And so that's why, like, takes a village to raise a kid. That's
Everyone is your dad.
everyone is your dad
Everyone
kind
is
of
your
thing.
I know, everyone's your dad.
And it's what you just said is actually pretty accurate. Religion, but it was actually before that. It was the agricultural revolution.
Huh.
Was when the hunter gatherers started figuring out how to do farming, and they had land ownership. That it actually became important to have ownership. Before it was just like communal roaming, right, or hunter gatherers. But then they started
Then
figuring
they
out
had to segregate.
they had to figure out like, well, I only want to feed my kids. I only want to feed the people that my land is owned by. So it was actually the agricultural revolution that really shifted things over to, pair bonding, monogamy. I want to know who my son is. I want to give my son the land that I've cultivated, because it's an interesting question to think about. Is like, where did that monogamy come from? But then it was religion and Catholic
Religion
Church was a
probably
way
pushed
to
it,
control it more and things
Yes.
like that, and it turned into a spiritual thing. Really interesting book though, Sex at Dawn. They looked at the bonobos, which was a group of gorillas,
Mm.
and it's one of the few matriarchal societies. So it's the bonobos,
The gorillas.
apes
Yeah.
are matriarchal, meaning they're run by the females.
Female.
And they showed in there how the females use sex as conflict resolution and keeping everyone happy.
Okay.
Because what will bring up some controversial topics is the whole the patriarchy, right? I got three women in here. You guys fight the power. We're not gonna do what we want. We'd be CEOs. We're gonna run the show. And so the patriarchy's been an interesting thing because a lot of women feel suppressed by that. It's a big boys club and you can't do things. So the patriarchy gets brought up a lot of how that works and stuff like that. And so the evolution of how sex and control and the patriarchy and all that kind of stuff. And so the bonobos was an interesting comparison of, well, how would a matriarch society look like, and how does it run in nature and things like that. And so that's what that book looks at. Is it looks at the whole.
What's it called again?
It's called Sex at Dawn. It's actually was a really interesting historical look at like. I like going because part of what we do in the regenerative health space and biological health things and stuff like that is looking at how did we get here and what did we do before? Have you ever asked yourself, well, what did my ancestors eat? How did my ancestors act? What were they doing all day? They were running, drinking, jumping, hunting, all those kinds of things,
Cyrus just walked in.
Perfect.
Cyrus
Don-
knows the Vox
Donuts
box.
for the health segment.
This is Chris Williams.
Hi.
Cyrus. He
Hi,
was
nice, Cyrus.
He's a voice acting director.
Oh,
So
nice.
he does all for the soaps.
Oh wow. So
So-
he knows how to do seductive. Do you know how to do a seductive voice?
Sample. Sample.
Say something seductive.
Sample. We're talking about like a lot of very, very interesting
Yeah.
topics. Why don't you sit down first?
Yeah, hang out.
So, okay, I have a question, Chris.
Okay.
Do you get stem cell injections in your brain?
So the first.
I feel like you do. I feel like you've upped your, intelligence like a few notches here and there.
When I first came to the Philippines, and these are all controversial things again, is I didn't want to get the COVID vaccine. But when I was coming to the Philippines 5 years ago, pre-COVID, you had to have the vaccination card to get into the country. And so I got that. And a lot of my close circle was upset with me, and they said you shouldn't do it. And largely we've been vindicated. It's come back and said you probably didn't need it. Like your natural immunity was built up. And, I know back then it was super controversial to say anything that wasn't pro-vaccine.
Yes.
But, and then while I was here, I had to get the booster as well. Right, you had to also show the booster card to get in. So I kind of, because I was working here and doing stuff, so I got multiple rounds of the vaccine. So when I went back, I started having brain fog, and I wanted to detox the COVID vaccine out of me. I wanted to get the mRNA stuff out of my body. And so our CEO had said, there was some experimental treatments for stem cell detoxing. And so I got 2 mLs IV put into my body. So I got about 20 million mesenchymal stem cells put into my body through an IV treatment. And in the first 10 days, I could feel mobility improvements in my neck. So I remember going, oh.
So even physically?
Yeah. I was like, oh, this kind of feels
Because I'm
nice.
thinking it's like the limitless.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. And then I remember bending over and my lower back felt improved. And so that's one of the things people feel with is it reduces inflammation, And so I also had a reduction in brain fog, and I was like, this is cool. And 20 million, that sounds like a lot, but that's not a ton, you know. And so so I got that. Then I did. I've had my face injected with exosomes, and then I've had the penile injection. So I had stem cells shot down there.
Yeah.
And then I've had a couple of other intermuscular treatments for it. So yeah, I'm juiced.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm juiced.
Cyrus, are you here to join our Heels and Heartbeats?
No.
Join us then. Huh?
I'm just getting some.
Okay. Well, what's this for?
I just thought I'd bring something.
Thank
to
you. Thank you for the
Generous
donuts.
guy.
You're such a sweetheart. Thank you.
I'm
Just join us anyway.
But he's already.
Oh, is that your girlfriend?
No.
Oh.
I'm just gonna.
Okay.
He just
Okay.
needs to
You're
get
heading.
some.
What a nice guy. He
All right,
brought
well,
donuts.
Thank you.
This guy
You're
knows the
welcome.
he knows the
Bye.
love
I was
language.
trying to be so quiet.
So I have another interesting topic for you.
Okay.
Do you know the love languages? Tell me what they are. What are the love languages?
Touch.
Okay.
Physical touch,
Service.
Service.
words of affirmation,
Words of affirmation.
quality time,
And there's one more.
touch.
It's your favorite. It's your favorite one. You're forgetting the. We're forgetting your favorite one.
Sex.
No. You're forgetting your favorite one as a woman. He just did it.
Gifts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gifts.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And so I think like they
You
have.
forgot because guys don't do that anymore.
I guess so. Wow. How horrible. How horrible.
Aw.
And so this love language stuff, like, it's really powerful. And there's this book called Men Are From Mars, Women Are From
I've
Venus.
read that. I've read
Have you read that one?
Yeah.
And I think, like, this is for the guy listeners, is like men have very low emotional IQ a lot. And I remember asking my
They do
dad.
not know what they do.
They just don't even. They just don't put if they figured it out, it's very easy. So like my dad, right? So I know my mom's love language very well. I know exactly what it is, and it's different in a romantic relationship versus like your normal friendship, stuff like that. But I was in front of our family, and I asked my dad, and we went through the love languages, and I'm like, Dad, what's mom's love language? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, come on, what is her love language? And he guessed one. I'm like, no. And I guess again, he's like, no. And I asked my brother, I'm like, what's mom's love language? And we all said at the same time, it's gifts. She loves like a flower or something like that. But I was saying, here's my father. He's 65,
He's
and he
not
doesn't know my
figuring it
mother's
out.
love language. I'm like, Dad, come on,
Yeah.
And so it's like a lot of these things are just like thoughtful. Like I said before about like so much of it is physical, right? But then you have the whole emotional IQ side. And it's once again, it's just laziness. It's like they're just not even putting a little effort and time into it,
Can you do some talks for men?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like the bar is so
Seminar.
the bar is so low. You know what I mean? And what's happening now, and I've seen this in the Philippines. This new generation are on their phones. They have poor social communication. They can't look people in the eye. They can't communicate and
They can't
articulate.
communicate. They'll just ghost instead of actually confronting the issue.
Yeah,
and saying what they need to say.
TikTok is wrecking people. This algorithm is so freaking smart that it figures you out. They showed that one of the things about Facebook, and it was really scary and damning, is that it came out that the algorithm had one job. Do you know what it is? What's the job of the algorithm?
To know what your habits are.
Very close, but what is it trying to do?
To control what you're doing.
Close. What's the one job of the algorithm?
To keep you hooked.
To keep you on their platform.
Okay.
And it came out how damning that was. So what that means is
The drug.
the algorithm doesn't care if it's going to show you conspiracy theorists, hate, violence,
Yeah.
sex, controversies,
Whatever keeps you
low dopamine hits and stuff like that. So it came out that this algorithm was so freaking smart that all it did was optimize. Can I keep you on for another 10 minutes? Can I keep you on for another 5 minutes?
Yes, I've
That's why
noticed
people
that.
end up
That's
spending so much time wasting
terrible.
time
And
just scrolling.
Yeah.
So they brought Zuckerberg and the entire Facebook team because they're like, this is bad. Like this
Yes.
algorithm is too powerful.
It's
It's too
addicting.
good.
Yes.
And it turns out, you know who has the best algorithm? Who? Who has the best algorithm out of all of them? You guys have been on all the platforms. Whose is the best? Have you been on YouTube Shorts? You've been on TikTok, Facebook Shorts? You've been on
Reels, Instagram Reels.
TikTok.
TikTok.
TikTok had the most advanced, comprehensive algorithm out there. And it turns out, this is the controversy in the US, that the TikTok algorithm was owned by a Chinese company and it
Yes.
was feeding data back.
Okay.
So they're showing that, like, can you imagine these governments being able to exactly know what you like, and they
Yes.
know your controversies, and they can create AI bots and things, and they're talking about controlling elections with this and policies and firing people up and all these kinds of things. And so I'm just telling you, like I said at the top of things, a lot of things that are coming after you. A lot of things that are coming after you. And I see these young kids being handed iPads and stuff, and they have, attention deficit issues and things like that. So, I mean, I hate to say it, there's just a lot of things after you, So, I don't know, what you do about it. You know how it is. It's like
You got so quiet.
I just see these young kids being pushed around outside, and the parents just have them on iPads.
Yeah,
And I get
the
that it's
iPad
easy.
kid generation, right?
Yeah, I get that it's easy.
But it's like they're overstimulated.
I get that. I get that
But
it's
you know, I
easy,
think
but
it's a lot worse in other countries, not like in Southeast Asia, because here it's more affordable to be able to afford a nanny.
still the
so
nannies give it to them, and you know.
Yeah, that's what the
Yeah.
nannies do to basically distract
But
them,
you have
right?
to be so much more vigilant now. If you're a
Mhm.
parent, if you're in a partnership, like my big thing today is I'm just telling you that what you think is your problem is probably like emotional IQ, physical health. It's not the drama. It's not like, oh, we had a fight over who did the dishes, or I feel tired because I worked hard. Like
you
there,
gotta look more internally.
yeah, you just gotta.
as to what's the cause of the problem.
Yeah, and I think the emotional intelligence stuff doesn't get talked about very much, and I think men need to put more effort into that. You know, I
Yes.
think women are generally higher emotional IQ, and they're talking about how a lot of women now just don't feel like they want men. They're just not up to their standards. This is the common thing is when.
What's your take on?
I feel attacked in this.
Yeah.
What's your take on narcissists?
So I had a friend that was a narcissist, and there's a way to tell a narcissist. Do you know what it is?
What?
You don't know?
Please,
I-
I've been victimized.
I'm doing it. I'm
Twice.
doing it with you right now. So a
Getting you-
narcissist
getting you involved.
won't break eye contact.
Oh.
So you're doing pretty good here. You haven't broke eye contact with me.
What
You
does
know.
that mean?
Do you see how we
I'm a
have?
narcissist
Do you
too.
see how we have? I'm just saying, you have a very strong personality,
Uh-huh.
and you're a radio host, so you clearly know how to do it. But they say if you want to know if you're with a narcissist, just stare at them and just see if they ever break. See, you already feel uncomfortable. I could tell, right? So just do it with them. What happens is they won't look away.
They will never.
See, I'm still doing it just to
They-
see
they
how long
treat
you
it
can go.
Almost like a challenge. Right?
Yeah. No, they don't. They don't. See,
Oh, they
that's
don't?
wrong. They're
Okay.
so self-absorbed that they don't even think that way. They don't think it's a competition, right?
okay.
So they have these little things you can do to. I was just reading a whole thing on narcissists. There's a great book called Dorian Gray. It's one of the original.
Oh, yeah, the picture
Oh,
of Dorian
yeah,
Gray.
yeah,
He's a
sure.
narcissist.
Yeah.
Ah,
So if you want to read a book on narcissism,
That's-
Dorian
Well,
Gray.
it's based
Yeah.
on like
Dorian
his
Gray.
vanity and everything,
Yes,
right?
yes, and it destroyed him and the picture and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, more.
Yeah. Well, narcissism, they can show statistically. So there's another really great thing. If you guys know Jordan Peterson, there's
Yeah.
the big
Yes.
five. There's the big five personalities.
Mhm.
And this is if you want to take your relationship to the next level, you can go do his personality test and you can do it as a couple. I'm telling you, it's so much fun. I've done it with my friends. It has significantly helped me. And so they have the big five personality types. Let's see what they are here. Big five personality types. And what happens is that you can understand better. I think it's one of the most helpful things that I've had with my friends because you see the life through you are. So the first one is openness, right? Curious. Someone in high openness might love traveling to new countries. Conscientious, right? High. So what happens is you get rated high or low. So are you high openness? That means you're curious, imaginative, right? If you have low openness, you're practical, prefers routines, resists change. So they'll ask you a bunch of questions and they'll help you understand your openness. And so you'll be with like your friend or your partner or a business person. You'll be like, oh, I didn't know you're that way. You actually resist change and you like routine. That's good. That helps me understand you. And so I get why you like routine and you want to be there. Whereas another person's just like, I'm creative and I'm adventurous. I hate to have that, right? The next one, conscientiousness, right? Conscientiousness. Organized and reliable. Disciplined, goal-oriented. That's the high. Then low is careless, impulsive, disorganized, procrastinates. Extrovertism, extroversion, being extrovert. High is you're sociable, energetic, talkative. Low is introverted. Agreeableness. High agreeableness is you're compassionate, cooperative, trusting, empathetic. Low agreeableness is critical, competitive, suspicious. But then this is the one is neuroticism. So neuroticism is if you're high in neuroticism, you're anxious, you're moody, you're emotionally unstable, you're easily stressed. Low neuroticism, you're emotionally stable, calm, resilient, relaxed. So like I have very low agreeableness. Like I like to debate. I think I'm right, So and then I have a friend who's very high in neuroticism, right? And I have like zero neuroticism. Like almost like zero.
How this dynamic works.
No, but it's just funny to compare the way we view life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so what's funny is you should. So I'm telling you, I'm giving you guys a lot of homework here. Go do your blood test. Go do this big five personality test.
Where can we take this? So we're gonna have to do a commercial break in a bit. But before we do that, can you tell our listeners where we can access this quiz that you're telling us about?
So type in understandmyself.com. Understand understandmyself.com, and it's the Big Five test. And do it with a partner. Do it with your partner. So
Or
there's
a
a
friend.
do it with a friend. It's actually really good. So they have a relationship couple one that you can do it for $20, and they'll
Oh,
do
it's
both of
paid.
you. Oh, it's
Okay.
paid. It's a real
It's a
deal
real
thing.
test.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're going to take you through real questions. These have been mapped out. The Big Five personality is the most studied form of psychological analysis with like counselors and coaches and stuff. So it's really mapped out how we are. Yeah. And it's just going to give you a huge insight to yourself. I've referenced mine numerous times, you know, with my friends, stuff like that. But what's funny is they talk about like where these come from. And so where do you think your personality comes from? Where do you think your personality comes from? Like where do these traits come from? What do you think
From
they
your upbringing.
upbringing? But I'm talking about like even like your 10,000-year-old ancestors.
Probably, yeah.
You know where it comes from?
It's in the
I'm
bloodline?
telling you, it's survival.
Ah.
So these were survival traits. Imagine your ancestor went out and explored and found blueberries. It encouraged them to say, I got a dopamine hit, and they were rewarded for exploring. Now imagine someone went out and ate some mushrooms and got violently sick and realized, boy, I shouldn't be out eating things I don't know. Can you see how? And so what happens is people like to label things as positive and negative, and the yin yang of things is there's positive and negative manifestations of the same thing. And so I think a lot of people get labeled, well, I'm neurotic, I see things as bad. And this is, can you see my personality? I see everything as positive. This is my friend, he sees everything as danger and harm. So I can turn anything into positivity.
You're
Like
a lot more open to it.
like my openness, I am pure positivity. Everything I see is good. Nothing can be bad for me. I can turn anything into good. Whereas my friend's like, well, what if the plane crashes? What if there's bad?
Oh, gosh.
But what happens is that person gets labeled as like a negative person. And what you realize is those are survival mechanisms that have worked for that person. And it helps you to be like, I get it. I get it. You're not being negative. These are survival traits.
Yeah, you learn to understand where it's coming from.
You learn. That's exactly what it is. You learn from where it comes and you understand it, but then you're supposed to evolve beyond that. And a lot of people struggle with that. Like they have to, you know, take their traits and stuff and do it. So do this one. This one is so much fun. I want to go pull up my results and review it again.
Wow,
And then what's even better is put it into ChatGPT and have it coach you. So put it in there and say,
What you need to do?
yeah, so how do I fix this? Where are my
That's a
potential
good
problems?
Uh-huh.
But really, you know, AI will really help you train it. Ask it hard questions. Where are my pitfalls? How does this manifest in work? How does it manifest in relationships? How can it make me a better DJ at the radio station? Well, I'm serious. It'll coach you. It'll say, well, you're open, so you're brave and you can say things others can't. And you'll be like, oh, that is my. I'm telling you, AI's ability to help you take these data sets will give you 1,000.
That's just
You can have your own life coach.
Yeah,
Life
you
coach,
do.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
for free, right?
Yes.
Besides the test. But
Yes.
again, that's
Yeah.
understandmyself.com. and
Understandmyself.com.
do the Big Five test.
Do it.
All right,
Do
so-
it, and then post your results. Tell us how you did. Tell us if
Yeah,
you're
let
a
us know,
neurotic.
let us know. Maybe we
you
can
know.
talk about it next week
Yeah.
again, coming back here on
We
Heels
did,
and
yeah.
Heartbeats. All right, but again, as I've said, we're gonna be going on a short commercial break, and I'm lining up another song that was requested by who was it? Was it?
Oh no.
My eyes suck, man. Sorry. But it was requested on Twitch, so this is Friday I'm in Love by The Cure, only on Jam88.3. What's the fourth mic for?
Because sometimes they bring in extra mics and then they change the switches. So because somebody said the volume was too low, and I was like, we're all talking really loudly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just bring it all up just in case. Yeah.
I'm just keeping it on
Donuts?
anyway.
No,
Do you
thank
eat
you.
this? No.
I love donuts.
You do? Here.
No.
No, you don't want any?
No, thank you.
I actually try not to eat donuts because it's a double jeopardy. It's carb and sugar.
We have a lot of.
Get one.
No, get one box.
You're
One
skinny
box?
and young, so you can afford to.
I'm
Yeah.
always saying that. Like, I'm gonna eat everything I can eat while I'm still
You
young.
sure?
How old are you?
I'm 23.
23.
But I always get mistaken for a teenager.
Uh-huh. Do you do resistance training?
What?
Do you do resistance training?
What is resistance training?
That
That's-
means no.
No,
Yeah.
When they say what is that?
I
means
say
no.
that very strategically because I don't say weightlifting or bodybuilding or the gym. Resistance training is how you tell it to a woman because I've trained a lot of women and they're always like, I don't want to get bulky or go to the gym. So I use that word. I'm saying resistance training. We're just gonna. It's just a really easier way of saying it. Yeah.
What
So-
is resistance training?
Just
Basically
going to the
workout.
gym,
Just
Like
extra lifting
lifting
weights,
Build muscle.
lifting
Like I
weights.
tell my girlfriends who are scared of like getting bulky, I'm like, do you see how many guys are at the gym?
Yeah.
They're there every day. Do they all look like bodybuilders?
Yeah.
No, because it takes a lot.
Yeah, and they
To
don't have
gain muscle.
they don't have the same testosterone, so they can't
Yeah.
do muscle synthesis the same
Yeah.
way. It's impossible. But I think women are so beneficial. You know, like the biggest one is women, like the tricep arms as they
Over here.
age.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The elastin and stuff. It's and then you see here it's bothering me. I see these women here that are just so frail. Even men too. They can barely walk. They can't move. I'm like, boy, you're just such a burden to your family because you didn't even do one. But seriously, I mean, I say it was
Yeah,
very
it's-
avoidable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
And like you look at like China and stuff, they go out and do movement and
Yep.
Tai Chi and stuff, but I don't think the Philippines has that exercise movement quite yet. Like you just see how frail
We
everyone is.
have some, but there's just this whole, especially before, it's like when you go to the gym every day, they'll be like, why do you work out so much? Like you have to defend yourself.
Mhm.
Why you want to be healthy?
But I can tell you, look how great you've aged as a result of that. Like you're the model of that.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? But I'm
Thank
saying
you so
like
much.
it manifests as in your mind beauty, but I'm talking just functionally. Like you just said, I feel better, I move better, I
and
have
I try
energy.
also to just I try to fill my, I try to be positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like that's the number one age. It hyperlaps your age.
Yeah.
Is if you're always stressed out, you're always angry. You're
I go to
always
I go to the
upset.
gym for one reason. It is stress release.
Yeah.
I don't even care about the effects anymore. I did a big bodybuilding thing before.
Oh
You wanna
really?
see?
Are you gonna show some of your
I
some
just-
of your former thirst traps?
Yeah, I hate showing it because
Was
I hate-
this after you decided you're gonna let go of your what was that?
my virginity.
Yeah.
I hate.
You're
I
like,
really
I'm
don't
now
like.
in the market.
I really don't like showing because people are like, why don't you look like?
This should be on air.
They're like, why don't you look like that anymore? And I go, well,
Hey, do you know that Dr. M has been like saying, oh, he's single. So should we announce that to all the listeners?
put me on the
Yeah.
sure.
In the
Yeah.
market.
Yes.
Come back and let's do a dating game.
So this was like, so I did a little thing as part of my
Oh, yeah.
transformation.
Okay.
So that's the before.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I did 6 months.
Wow.
I did a
Just
massive.
6 months?
It took me. I did 2 90-minute sessions a day at the gym.
Wow.
Yeah, I have a video. I'll show you
90
later.
minutes.
But that was 6 months. It was like 5.5 months. But I was doing it so hardcore. I was lifting massively heavy weights that I got a double hernia,
Oh god.
Oh.
and I really never recovered. I don't lift heavy anymore. I just, even right now, I need to drop 10 kilos.
Just get my water.
Okay, yeah, stay hydrated.
But what do you eat? Because you're like very particular with all the chemicals and stuff.
Yeah, great. That's a great
How
topic.
do you eat?
Great.
What do
Let's
you
talk.
eat?
Let's talk about that.
Yes,
In the next
okay,
segment.
let's talk about that next.
I eat jelly-filled donuts.
Vera's the only one who can get away with this right now.
For now,
Yeah.
it's gonna catch her.
Now I feel guilty eating the jelly-filled donuts.
Well, I do love. I mean, Dunkin' Donuts is it's American. Krispy Kreme is amazing.
Yeah.
I find it
That's
so
not-
sweet though.
That's
I
Really?
find it too
It's-
sweet.
Yeah, those ones are more like a pastry almost. Yeah, go ahead. It's the weekend.
I need to use my sanitizer.
It's like, how did the Kardashians get popular?
How?
Have you ever thought about that?
market themselves.
How? Through what?
Ask it on the show, like right
Yeah?
now.
Okay,
we have 10
okay,
seconds.
okay. Yeah,
Kim sex tape. Just kidding.
that's the answer. Was she popular before that? Okay. yeah.
Jam88.3, we are back in Heels and Heartbeats, and I believe Chris over here has a question for everyone.
Well, it's like we're talking about like health and why you should do it, and one of the questions is, how did the Kardashians become so popular?
And what did you say, April?
Kim sex tape.
Kim sex tape, that was one of them. The answer is they're gorgeous, like healthy women, and you know what they do? They do squats. They have beautiful asses.
Yeah.
It started with that.
And what do you think built Instagram? Women's beautiful
But
butts.
But-
Think about it. Think about it.
Uh-huh.
Instagram got popular because these women figured out what a squat was and how to like do glute
And they
exercises.
popularized it too because there was a point in the early 2000s where the smaller butts were preferred, right?
Yes. Yeah, so it was. I always tell people, because I always tell these girls, I'm like, just start doing squats. And I'm like, why? I feel like, look at those Kardashians. That's all they did was squat,
At
got
first.
beautiful butts, got on Instagram. Now they're billionaires. Now, obviously, they became
Aside
good.
from the fillers on the butts, just kidding.
Yeah, I know. Well, so I worked with a doctor, and he did penis extension surgeries. And he had a lot of men that would fly into New York to get these surgeries.
How does that work?
I know, like
They actually put material,
Like an
on the
implant?
implant,
on the
to extend on the shaft so you can
Okay.
have longer. Yeah,
But isn't that like bone? So you put it like where the bone ends?
there's no bone.
I'm sorry.
Have you ever held one?
Now they do call it
I
a
know
boner.
it's called a boner.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And
So-
you're the married one here, right? Like affect the nerve endings on the center.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very hard to do. But what I was going to tell you is, he hired me to do marketing for him,
Uh-huh.
so I had to do a lot of research on this. And the other one he did was Brazilian butt lifts.
Okay.
And in the USA, I looked up the amount of searches happening every month to do Brazilian butt lifts. In the USA, there was like 70,000. This was a long time ago. I think it's probably more. But every month, there were 70,000 people in the US that were searching for Brazilian butt lifts. I'm like, what? And so I got to live in Miami for 6 months. I have never seen so many Brazilian butt lifts. I was on the beach, and it was just pure, huge Brazilian butt lifts. You're just-
BBL.
You're just like, what is this? You know, I don't know where I am. Where is this? It's a Disney World of Brazilian butt lifts, you know, just crazy, you know. But it's interesting about the Brazilian butt lift and women wanting to get breast augmentation, and there is a right way and a wrong way to do it. And I met with a doctor, and he helped me understand this, right? Because for men, a lot of times it's like, oh yeah, they look great or whatever it is. But for a woman, if you're gonna get breast augmentation or do these things, what do you think the mindset is? Like, what should a woman's mindset be for why she would get that? When do you think it's justified to do that? Breast augmentation, Brazilian butt lift, or do you think there's never a case of it, or you know?
When the woman wants to.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But why should she want it? What should be the mindset of why she wants it?
To make yourself look better?
For what purpose?
Confidence?
To fill in clothes better?
Feeling clothes better, confidence.
Yeah.
You're close. Only one more guess. I'm s-
Dating.
Dating. So that's the exact reason you should not do it, right?
Mhm.
So if you're doing it to get approval
Yes.
of other people,
Yes.
you're going down the wrong track.
Yeah.
And that's generally true of a lot of things. If your intent is I need someone else's approval, you're going down the wrong track.
Yes.
That's a really good indicator. If I'm seeking other people's approval, that's a dangerous path. The right answer is if a woman wants to feel more feminine and comfortable of who she is, right? Then that's probably the better case for it. I actually had a doctor tell me this because I was like, I had a girlfriend at the time that had them, and I was like, you know, I don't know if I wanted to do these or get these, da 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 da. And he's like, well, and he gave me that answer, and I thought, yeah, that's a really good, you know, understanding of what that is. But what I was going to tell you is, have you ever wondered why a woman would want bigger boobs, bigger ass, like from a health perspective?
Because that's what you see on social media. Everybody's going gaga over.
Well, just back to my little thing I'm doing with you guys, you have to go back to historically where this all came from. Think about our ancestors. Why would a woman want healthy breasts, healthy ass? What are those kinds of
It's a
things?
sign of fertility.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Right? Good. So that isn't that interesting to understand that, because we get marketed to and we get all these things,
Yes.
and you know what also happens is men get demonized. Oh, men are always looking at this and
They can't help
they're
it.
ogling and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But when you go back to it, so there's these two massive powerful things between men and women. It's called survival and replication.
Yes.
If you wanted to understand now, and I'm going to tell you how this has changed, but if you wanted to historically understand the complete dynamic between men and women, it was always based on survival and replication, right? As a man, I can survive, I can protect myself, but I have zero chance of replicating myself, of passing on my DNA. I have zero chance. So I value that among that's what I value more than anything is, well, of course I can protect myself, I can feed myself, but I have to pass on my DNA, right? Or my existence cease to end. So what men are trained to do is they look for fertility signals, right? And so traditional fertility signals are certain parts of the woman's body.
Yes.
And so men were trained by that to look for fertility signals. Now you got all these voyeurs and kinks and sexual perversions, and it's been completely spun to death and killed.
Which would be for another episode.
It's another episode.
Seems like you're
Colin-
an expert in that.
Calling with your kink, you know.
Oh my
Yeah.
We gotta maximize
You know,
your time.
You want
in
to see the
Philippines,
DJs?
guys.
You want to see the DJs eating powdered donuts? Is that your kink? You know?
Hey,
We'll post that. We'll post that in the after chat. You want to see powdered donut all around the mouth with jelly, with jelly coming out.
I feel
With
self-conscious
jelly.
now.
Check
Raspberry
check the
jelly.
Twitch replay for
Raspberry filled.
That's
So
it. I'm never coming in
yeah.
again.
So I think so for men, but let's do women now. Okay, what are women looking for historically?
Strength.
Survival.
The ability to
Survival.
protect.
Survival. So it's different. So that's why like generally women, and I know this may shock people, but women don't always make their decision off of looks, because you'll see a lot of inconsistencies where you're like, why did she choose him? And it's like, because a woman doesn't wake up and go, I know you've been trained that I want Leonardo DiCaprio, whatever it is, but
Not anymore.
yeah. But you know what I mean? And so
Yes, dear.
and so you as a
No, you're
woman and you as a
perfect.
guy, it's good to understand your historical motivations
Right.
of why you're feeling a certain way,
Yeah.
right?
Why you're compelled to
Yeah.
find certain people attractive.
Yeah, and so women look at survivability. And so what happened was in our hunter-gatherer way of living is we were tribal. Everything was tribal. Modern society that we live now never existed, right? It was always tribal. And so what happens in tribal existence was you had to be careful how you did things. If your reputation was spurned, you might not get a partner. If you did things wrong. So they talk about like men historically have approach anxiety, and they go, where did that come from? Like, I still have fear of it. I can talk to billionaires and pitch you in, but a pretty girl in front of me, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to be nervous.
Well, thanks. So I guess
Yeah.
we're not pretty.
No, I'm nervous all night. I'm sweating.
I think
So,
we're fine.
but I'm asking, why does a man feel social anxiety
Yeah.
when approaching a woman? Because rejection in a tribal sense, if you approached a woman incorrectly and received rejection from that woman, and they all
You get
saw it,
ostracized.
and you get ostracized, and you can't get a mate, you can't pass on your DNA. So, like, it's really a fun exercise to like trace back why these things were important, where it is, why. But here's what's happened is, women don't need your protection anymore. Women don't need your money anymore. Women can go to a sperm bank and impregnate themselves.
Yes.
They don't need your sperm anymore. So in America especially, women don't need men anymore.
Oh no.
So now a woman looks at it and says, I'm going to pick off of what I like and my preferences. So it's an interesting time now, and they've talked about the dating apps and men and women working together. All these things, social changes have come up now, and it's just really changed the dynamic of men and women. And people argue it's for the better, and that's all good, and the women's movement, and everyone can do what they want, stuff like that. But it's just interesting, those dynamics of what's changed now, where a woman doesn't look at a man and think, survival is
I
the
need a
most
provider,
important
right?
thing.
Yeah.
You have a job. You guys are being protected by the police. You know what I mean? So it just changes things. And so once again, I came back to the statement. I think men are the ones that have dropped. They're just not as good anymore. And a lot of women report saying, I just can't find a motivated guy that wants to get married and start a
So it's had
family.
detrimental effects on
Yeah.
the male population.
I think both, because women go, I don't really need you to survive anymore. And if you're not going to really come to me with some kind of value proposition of why I should partner with you, why would I even do that? And so they talk about one of the biggest changes in men and women's relationships. It was a particular piece of technology. Since I'm making you guys guess tonight for the fun of it, what do you think it is? What was the most drastic change between women and men's dynamic in like the dating scene and stuff like that, and how men and women get together? What was it? Huh?
Mobile phone?
That's probably that's true, but there's before that. It was the birth control.
Oh.
Birth control removed the risk and outcome of pregnancy.
Yes.
When you removed that, it started that whole free sex movement, no risk, contraceptives, the
women can sleep around too, and it's okay.
and there's zero consequences of it. Literally zero consequences. And now they have the B pill, which is banned here, and they should allow it here, if you ask me, but that's maybe controversial too here, because I think it's an abortion. It's an interesting conversation
morning
point.
after.
The morning after
Yeah.
pill, it's not technically abortion. It stops the egg from dropping. It doesn't kill
Yes.
anything.
Yeah.
So,
It just prevents it.
Prevents
from
it, and-
continuing the
and,
process.
while I'm being controversial like 1,000 times tonight, is the people that are hurt by that are rape victims.
Yeah.
In the Philippines, there's a rape every hour.
Yeah.
Did you know that? In the Philippines, every hour there's a rape. I've seen so much teen pregnancy here and stuff like that that could be avoided. I actually started a charity, and I was working to get those to women's groups, but it's a banned product, and I couldn't get it in. But I wanted to work through women's groups to empower, especially 14-year-olds, 15 getting pregnant. It's like, can they at least have a choice? But I'm just saying, so that think about that. Like, now you've removed the consequences of sex completely, and now how does that change the dynamic? Well, now you have Tinder, Bumble, all these apps, and you've removed complete consequences.
And the fact that it's so easy because you just swipe. So you can just, it's like window shopping the entire time.
Yeah, and so it's like, who is setting the bar lower, women or men? I don't know. I think the women. No. Because women tolerate those bad behaviors, and so men aren't going to change. The men won't change, So I just keep thinking, what's going to change this generation? Who's going to raise their standards? That's my thing about the Philippines. I'm like, who's going to raise their standards to say, I'm not going to tolerate that? I don't know.
Well, that's why people end up being single.
Yeah, they don't want to get married, and the divorce rate's 50%, and so I think society's in a real interesting space. I don't know.
Yeah.
So get married and have some
Well,
kids.
especially in the
That's why I
Philippines.
started with the scripture of,
What's that?
Were you here for my scripture quote?
Scripture quote? The one
I,
earlier?
I quoted the Bible.
Yeah,
Were you here for
yeah,
my
yeah,
Bible
I
quote?
did.
Yeah.
It's an interesting way
Go
to
and
end the
procreate,
show,
right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
go forth and multiply.
There you go. So
yeah, I
just
remember.
just do what
Oh, God.
just do what God told you.
Just have.
But it's expensive to multiply.
It is.
Oh yeah.
In
Yeah.
this economy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and people say that a lot. Yeah, and it's tough to.
And then now there's all those like dinks, the double income,
Oh, yeah.
no kids.
Yeah, that's
Couples.
me.
And they like the lifestyle it provides.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because you've got your freedom and you just have each other and you don't
The-
have to worry about
So
kids.
so countries are so desperate for births that they're heavily incentivizing it now, and I think that might change it. If you could get tax credits and childcare credits and stuff like that, people would be like, okay, I'll have a kid.
Well, if they can make it cheaper to have kids, then that definitely would raise the incentive,
Well, they show demographics of birth rate. I think traditionally Muslim communities have the highest birth rate. They were showing Japanese, Korean, one of the lowest. You have to have, I think, a 1.3 birth rate for population growth.
Yeah.
Anything less than that, you actually have population decrease. And I think Japan and Korea have like under a 1.
Yeah.
And so they're showing their aging demographic. There's not enough young people to take care of those. And so you're seeing our whole world change where if cultures and populations have a negative growth rate, and
become extinct.
yeah, we're going to see it, in a couple hundred years, the demographics will look, even Europe right now is being reshaped, and it's not being reshaped by wars, it's being reshaped by wombs. There's a book title.
Yeah,
Huh?
that's interesting.
Wars and wombs. Wars and wombs.
Alright, so thank you again for coming in, Chris.
Sure, that was
Will we
fun.
be
Thanks,
seeing
guys.
More of you, hearing more from you again next week.
Well, I'm going to be out traveling to Hong Kong and
Oh,
Boracay and some other things, but yeah, I would love to do
We will
another round.
definitely have you back.
Okay, thanks,
I
guys.
love how our heels and heartbeats have become so very scientific and super
Yeah.
hyper educational.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Get a
Today
blood,
was
we
good
learned a
place
lot.
on
So
the show.
hopefully you guys listening
get a blood
also-
panel, do your Big 5 test,
Blood panel, big 5
and
test,
do your resistance training.
and do
Yes.
your resistance.
Yes,
there you go.
yes.
There you go.
There you
Those
go.
are the parting words.
Yes.
And I'm gonna leave this coconut oil as a gift to you. Okay.
Oh,
So, test it out, report back,
I will.
You
what use again?
know.
Wow.
You know.
You find out.
Okay, okay.
You know.
What is it?
Look
What,
at that.
I can use it for my skin too, right?
Yeah.
It's
You
not just
can.
for- okay.
You can. It's a great
Okay.
carrier oil, great for skin. It's amazing for hair. I do a lot with my hair.
Okay.
Yeah, it's anti-chafing if you ever have like Under Armour or
Mhm.
it's great for that.
Okay.
It's great on
Alright.
feet.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you guys. Once again, this has been Heels and Heartbeats. But before that, I'd also like to, promote what we call the Maginhawa Summer Fest, which is tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. onwards, which features live shows, live music, food market, Palarong Pinoy, and Zumba. And if you guys love sandwich, Earl General, we got Hey June, Tema, Parasols, my good friend Parasols, Harang Queens, Motherland PH, and Anima Tierra. This is the perfect place to go. I hope to see you guys there tomorrow. But for now, I'll be playing a couple of songs. There was a request earlier coming in for any Echo Smith song. So, me being the generous intern that I am, I'm taking note of that, and it's already loaded up on the computer. Ano ba tawag dito? Load it up here on Jam88.3 where everything rocks.
Let's take a picture.
Yeah.
Let's, why don't you just bring this?
Oh, there's no lights anymore.
No, that's my other phone.
Another phone.
Alright. Ready? Let's wait for the jam thing.
The timing is it.
One more. Gotta wait. Alright. Okay.
Hey guys, that was fun. Thank you. Very
Yeah, it was
fun.
really, really fun. And yeah, I love how you elevated the show from just
Yeah.
like typical ghosting and all that stuff, and it's really like
It's hard to talk about sex stuff with us. You have like this right starting point of like, you know,
No, but that was great.
it's not easy.
Like
And even for me, I talk about masturbation and sex. Like, you know, I have to be careful.
But no one's going to complain
Yeah.
about it because
Yeah.
it's educational. It's not
Yeah.
like you're
Yeah.
saying it to be like, you know,
Harassing
minded.
whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to be able to talk about it more openly.
Actually,
Yes,
Yes.
it's actually
And I'm serious. Like, if these people
refreshing.
take that challenge to go do like that personality test and stuff,
Yeah.
like it's just like, especially men, they just don't even know, like,
Yeah.
you know, their partner stuff. Okay.
all right.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank
That was
you.
fun.
for coming in.
All right, guys.
Oh, we
Have a good
forgot to
night.
say that he was single. So for the
Oh, yeah.
ladies,
Oh
out there-
yeah. He's coming back in.
Thank you.
I should get like 20 dates out of this.
You
Put that
can
on
come
the-
back.
Let's do that for the next one, okay?
Yes.
Unless you meet somebody already in Boracay.
All right, thanks,
All right,
guys.
bye. Did you have? Oh, is that your backpack?
That's
No,
fine.
that's mine.
Sorry, you can throw that away for me. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay.
No, that's mine. That's
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye.
Amazing. Thank you for
Galing niya, no? You know, like sabi